Let's Talk Podcast and Debate Talk for You will be teaming up this Sunday, you guys. This Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We always hearing one-sided arguments between passport bros and modern women. Well, guess what? You're now going to have the opportunity to bring these two opposing views together. Yes, we got Reese Roberts and Robert Reed coming to bring their opposing views on whether or not the black man should be saving his community or saving himself. Yes, this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit the link. It'll be live and hosted by your girl, Christina, and our one and only Sal Showtime. You guys ever had in your mind something that you really wanted to just come to life? Well, that's what happened to me. I already imagined in my mind what I wanted, but I didn't know how to actually make it a reality. Well, that's why I reached out to my brother, myhustlingplus.com. This man took my old logo and just in a few questions was able to create something that I had already had in my mind visually. This brother doesn't just do logos. He does flyers. He does web designs. He does graphic design, video creations, anything that you can just have in your mind and you want to be able to visualize it and put it on paper and use it for your business or for your company. You got to check my boy out. All you got to do is contact him on myhustlingplus.com, myhustlingplus.com, or you can even hit him up at 323-207-9542. And when you get there, tell him Let's Talk Podcast sent you. All right. Welcome. I'm so excited for tonight's show. Welcome to Let's Talk Podcast. We're so thankful and grateful for everybody that's here. Make sure you guys hit the like. I see some people on Facebook. I see some people on YouTube. And we even got a few people in Debate Talk for You. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. We got Sal Showtime coming off of retirement. Yes, my boy out of retirement. You'll come join us. And we're so excited for that. So first and foremost, thank you everyone for being here. Make sure you, again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you guys like what you hear and you guys enjoy what you hear, please donate. Anything you guys can donate, we'll appreciate it. The Cash App is inside the bottom, running across the screen. So either way, whether you want to donate Debate Talk for You or Let's Talk Podcast, either way, we appreciate it. We put a lot of hard work into this, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we want to continue to keep on doing it. With that being said, first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to break down what today's show is because some people might not be familiar. So today's show,
brand disclaimer.
I'm going to bring up the backdrop real quick so everybody could see it. It's not coming up. Hold on. Y'all know we live. This kind of stuff happens. It doesn't want to come up. Well, either way, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to break down what the show basically is all about. We're going to be having two opposing people coming up today. It's not going to be centered around passport bros. That's not really what we're discussing, but that does have a big part to do with what we're talking about today. So all of this started because our brother Robert Reed and our co-host who comes on this platform quite a bit, and we love her. We love them both. They had a conversation surrounded whether or not our brothers should be leaving the country and going other places to look for spouses, to look for wives, or girlfriends, whatever they're doing. And Reese's position is that we need to be trying to build and fix and grow our community. And Robert Reed's position is, listen, if we're not happy here, they don't want us here, we're not being treated right here, we're just going to pack it up and we're going to go. And that's how this whole conversation started. So both parties are going to come today and bring their information, their statistics, their experiences, and they're going to share it with the people so that we can have a better understanding. Because by us coming together and talking, I think it gives us a better idea to be able to build together. Even if we leave this thing still disagreeing, at least we'll disagree knowing more information than we did before we came on here. So with that being said, first thing I want to do is I want to play the disclaimer, and then we're gonna have our co-host come on up here, okay?
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
All right, all right, all right. I know you guys heard that. Now, Sal is having some technical difficulties. This happens, we live, it happens. So whenever he comes back in, we'll bring him in. But I know y'all already here. Y'all want to get the show started. So we just gonna get it started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring up Reese and I want to bring up Robert. Hey, 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 what's good, you guys?
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
How's everybody feeling? Y'all looking good. Look at y'all. Y'all looking good. Y'all, this is black excellent right here, y'all. This is just looking good. Y'all just shining today. Okay, okay,
well,
all
thank
right.
you. You
I
too.
like
Thank
what I'm
you.
seeing. I like what I'm seeing. Okay. So Sal internet is tripping, but he'll be back any moment. But I don't want to hold it up because we got people in there, and I know they got a lot. They want to get off their chest. I know they want to hear what you two have to say. So the first thing I want to do is Robert Reed has been on the show at least 2 or 3 times already, kind of expressing high value Hebrew, expressing passport bros and how to do it the right way and the wrong way and all those things. And you jumped on and you were like, hey, wait a minute. And you wanted to point out a few things. So, Reese, I want to give you an opportunity to just kind of get into that a little deeper. Of course, introduce yourself and let the people know who you are who don't know. And then definitely, I want you to just jump right in there and kind of give us an idea of why your position is that we need to save our community or the black man needs to be saving the community.
Okay, well, yes, my name is Reese Roberts. I host a podcast called Entertain the Thought. I'm currently on a hiatus there, but you can find it on any of your streaming platforms at Entertain the Thought with Reese Roberts. So the real reason that I wanted to interject there was because, like I had expressed, I thought it was a bit of a um, how do I say this? It was a bit of a disgrace against our community for our black men to be in the same struggle as we are, but they are choosing to abandon us and neglect us as the story would be told, to go and look for quote unquote love in other places. And so that was really the position of my heart, was that we need to stick together because obviously we are under attack as a group. And so for us to be further divided by our own people internally, it just doesn't speak a lot towards nation building, generational wealth, or any of those common goals that we all seem to share in the Black community. So that was the reason I wanted to express the sentiment.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So let me ask you a question. Do you have what? Okay, you pretty much kind of already have an idea of Robert Reed's position, but what question would you ask him regarding, brothers who are saying, hey, I'm done, I'm out of here, I'm sick and tired of this, they don't want me, I'm going somewhere else? What would be your response to that? What question would you ask him regarding brothers with his mentality saying that, I'm gonna save myself, I'm out of here?
Well, I guess my question to all men who feel that way would be, what do you expect from Black women? What do you expect from people that are constantly under attack, constantly being spoken down on, constantly being abused, constantly having this negative stereotype purported in the media when clearly it doesn't reflect all of who we are? The fullness of Black women is not befitting of this narrative. So, my question would be, what could you possibly expect from women who you have objectified and mistreated for this long? How can we be expected to be something more than what you guys are respecting us to be?
With that being said, let's bring Reed up. Let's bring Reed up. So, Robert Reed, you back? You back? Now I
Thanks
know
for
she asked you a question, and that was a bit of a heavy question.
yeah.
And I want to hear the answer. But before we get to her answer, because I want to know what you got to say, I'm like, okay, she got something to say. I want to hear what you got to say. I want to know first, just introduce the people to yourself, and also if you want to just give a quick breakdown of why your position is, save yourself, black man. opposed to save your community, black man. And then, of course, dive into her question.
Okay. I guess a little bit by myself, about myself is, uh, let's see, I don't want to get way, so deep into that, but, born and raised Houston, Texas, live out west, um, grew up, Christian values and things like that. Then a little over a decade ago, got into, Hebrewism or Messianic Judaism uh, or Black Hebrew Israelites, that sort of thing. So that's, and I only bring that up because that's where I get, high value Hebrew, because I believe in the, you know, Hebrews of the Bible and stuff like that. As far as why I feel the way I feel, as far as save yourself, black man, is because, one, right at the outset, I believe the black man is already, if he saves himself, he is saving the black community. I think without a black man, there is no black community whatsoever. In the black community, obviously, men genetically determines the race of a baby, determines the gender, determines the race of a baby, stuff like that. So where he goes, genetically, the black man goes. To address what she said, I think it's a bit disingenuous, because there's a lot of assumptions on our partner. Assumptions is that, say, well, what do you expect? We're in the same trouble. It's a disgrace and things like that. Well, I agree with you partly. It is a disgrace. It's a disgrace when you're in the same struggle and the person you're in the struggle with is deriding and chiding you and putting you down. Men have already been taking L's for the past 6 decades, right? For the past 60 years, where they've been taking L's. Where have they been taking L's? They've been taking L's in the media. They've been taking L's in the church. They've been taking L's in the family court system. They've been taking L's everywhere, right? It's just that they couldn't really say what they wanted to say. We can't, because you can't say anything really bad, about women without them being triggered. You can't hold them accountable. It's like, so what do we expect? What do we expect is we expect to be like other men, respected by our women. What do we respect? You say, oh, well, we objectify. First of all, I always say there's 2 types of women. There is the modern woman, and then there's also the traditional women. So I don't lump them all together anyway, right? So if you're talking about the modern woman, I expect, I don't expect a lot from the modern woman, because she has her own thoughts. She has her own way of looking at things. Even when the outcomes are not her desired outcomes, she's still going to double down on whatever it is that she believed, right? So, but what we expect is to be respected, just like other men in their community to be respected, because they're men. You can't say, oh, well, black men do this and black men do that. All men, you can say that about any other men, whatever it is you want to fill in the blank, you're going to find that case in every community. And yet the men can still get respect from their women. So with men taking L's left and right every single day, see, we're trying to paint the picture that the black woman is the only one put upon. That is not true. Okay. It's just that in our community, the person who we're supposed to be in the foxhole with is the one also shooting us or stabbing us in the back, is men. Now, a lot of people will write it off and say, oh, well, who hurt you? This is a bitter thing. I'm not bitter. I don't care. I don't have an issue with, meeting women and dating and getting married. I don't have an issue with any of that. That's not a problem. But I'm speaking partly on behalf of all men who may have the problem, who have gone through those type things, have to go through the rating, the riding, the chiding. Remember, they classify all men as Pookies and Ray Rays. They classify all men as deadbeat dads and absentee fathers and stuff like that. And then there's a study that says, the black father is one of the most involved fathers of all the fathers across races. Okay, so I don't want to digress too much. I just want to just address our point, about it being disgrace. Yeah, from where I'm sitting, it's a disgrace when somebody you're supposed to be in this struggle with is not helping you, is actually putting you down, is actually saying you're unworthy, who does not get the respect that other men in other communities get. So what exactly are we saving? We're sticking around to do what? And I rest the mic.
All right, Reese.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't know if you were gonna segue there, but so there are several things I think our men need to first recognize number one, I hear several men, like this gentleman has described tonight, that they want to hold women accountable. But energetically, logically, we have to remember how accountability actually works. Accountability is not for you to hold other people accountable. FYI, accountability is for you to hold yourself accountable for what you are doing in the community, not everybody else, because you cannot control everyone else. All you can do is look at yourself in the mirror and figure out what you are doing to build your community, what you are doing to uplift women, to uplift children, to uplift your brothers. That's the only thing you can do. It's the only thing you are fully in control of. If you want to hold a woman accountable because you don't like how she's acting, or you don't like her temperament, or you don't like that she's flashy or whatever, that woman probably should not be in your world. She probably shouldn't be in your reality if you don't like her. And so the kicker is, instead of complaining about the women that you don't like, find the women that you do. Because in my reality, I don't have an issue with any of the brothers in my circle. None of them. In fact, throughout my life, I have found myself learning quite a bit from brothers. I found myself being supported quite a bit from brothers like Sal. Sal, for example, has supported me ever since he's came in contact with me. The same way he's supporting Christina. I've never seen in my circle, the people that I keep around me, I've never seen those brothers needing accountability, because the ones who I feel like I need to hold you accountable, I'm cutting you off. And that is how I hold you accountable. I get you out of my way so that I can find brothers that are more worth my time, more worth the energy that I have to give to the community. And so about brothers being put down and taking L's everywhere in the community, and like, why would we stay here and fight? Well, I would submit the idea that you should stay and fight because this is the chaos that you created. Other men receive respect in their communities because they have created an atmosphere where they can be respected. These men have created prosperity in their communities in the ways that they've chosen to. In the Caucasian community, you see men thriving with their corporations. In the Indian communities, you see those people thriving with how they deal with technology. You see Chinese people thriving with their manufacturing industries that they've built up, all kinds of business, things. But our men um, have over history have, or I'll say, I guess, because of conditioning, you've seen our men objectify us and use us as more of an excuse, more of a finger to point at, some blaming games that our men play with us instead of using us as partners. And so the counterproductive energy of that is the reason why I believe all of us are taking the L. Because trust and believe me, it's not just black men that are out here in society taking L's. We're That's happening categorically across the board. For our men, women, and children, we're taking L's because of the lack of leadership and protection for women and children in our communities. And I don't know if brothers actually hear women all the time. We're saying, protect me, protect me, protect me, protect me, protect me over and over again. That's the message that we're sending. We need protection. And so a lot of our men are misinterpreting that to think, oh, we need physical protection. We don't want anybody to. No, what we're talking about is we want protection in the sense that we can take the time off to be feminine. We can take the time off to raise your children. We can take the time off not to have to be in the streets because we have a stable home provided by the man who we choose to be with, choose to have children with. A lot of men are not equipped right now to provide stability for a woman in her femininity to thrive. But I think too many men are reducing that down to a financial goal where I can only be a stable source of protection or provision for you if I have $1 million. And so men out here are chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, trying to fulfill this idea of stability. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about study me, understand my strengths, my weaknesses, learn to use me as a partner. Let me help you in the ways that I know how to help you. And then you return the favor. Instead of finger pointing, all I hear a lot of time is just blaming, 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 blaming. But in the corporate world where I spend most of my time, you would be put out of the group if all you were contributing to the common goal of us running this business is complaints. All you doing is sitting around complaining, talking about what Billy did and what Susie didn't do and what Tanisha did and what Jack didn't do. You're gonna be put out of the group because what are you doing? All you're doing is sitting here complaining. You're not helping. Go get out. and and I yield.
All right, all right. I think she she definitely had a lot to say about what you said. I definitely want to hear what you got to say, Robert.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, I want the people listening to understand it just what happened. She just a couple of things she did. She just said that all she hears is the blaming, and yet she just blamed all Black men in particular for the chaos that we're currently experiencing. Men didn't start this, okay? We did not, okay? And then she just said, "Oh well, you don't deserve respect because you haven't done anything to earn that respect. You haven't created an environment to where you should have respect." I just got back from the Philippines, right? And I seen guys who probably make about 200 pesos, 300 pesos a day, and they get respect from their wives. He didn't do anything. All he did is just work and be a father and be a husband. And yet he still gets respect. She still honors him, listens to him. You see, I want the men to understand that. You see how she puts it, that you're not worth the respect. You got to do something. And then see how she big ups all the other men in other communities. Oh, they built technology and they built railroads and they built this and they did that. Didn't say anything what men or black men did because she don't see any value in that, right? So she's saying that, oh, well, you got to do something. See, again, we got to do something. And then I want to go back to that objectified. Oh, well, you objectified. I'm sorry. We have social media today, and who is forcing these women, our women, right? The women who share our hue. Who's forcing them to get in scantily clad clothes? Who's forcing them to get on there and twerk? Who's forcing them to jump on tables and stuff like that at the airport or at a restaurant? Who are Black men forcing them to do that? Who's forcing them to do that? Who's forcing them to destroy their homes? Who's doing that? Or do they have the freedom to do it themselves? No one is making them do that. No one's objectifying them. No one's telling them, hey, go put on a G-string, a thong, or a cut-off shorts or something and go twerk in the streets or something, or show our children that. So you're objectifying yourself. There's no noose around your neck. There's no man forcing any woman to do this right now. You got this whole epidemic of OnlyFans. Who's forcing women to do that? Who's forcing them to do that? And don't blame the fact that there's consumers, okay? We all know sex sells, but no one's forcing you to do that. Because if you make that argument that, yeah, kind of, sort of, then why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing OnlyFans, or the other women on this channel, on this right now, doing OnlyFans right now? Why? Because no one's forcing. It's their choice. It's their option. That's the point I want to make on there. And then she wanted to go ahead and redefine what accountability is. So are you telling me that leaders don't hold others accountable? That's what you're saying. Leaders don't hold others accountable. See, again, traditional ladies and gentlemen, because I know modern women won't hear what I'm saying, and that's okay, that's fine. But traditional ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem. This is why you can't save the community, because you can't hold them accountable. Meaning you can't do that. Accountability could be like, hey, a woman say, hey, honey, I'm gonna go do this or that or whatever, and it's 2, 3, 4 in the morning, right? This is the mother of your child or whatever. You can't say, what are you doing? That can wait till tomorrow. I don't want you outside. Why? For your safety. Oh, you're trying to control me. That kind of thing, right? That's the kind of pushback that you get. Gentlemen, what are we saving? What are you saving? That you have not, just by being a man, you have not even deserved respect. Just respect. Now, if you asked our opponent, and you asked, well, does she deserve some respect? I'm pretty sure she would probably say, yeah, women should deserve respect. Okay, just being a human being, just being a woman, you should deserve respect. I agree with that. Okay, now again, she may say something different. I don't want to present a straw man in that. But anyway, let me go with a couple of things that I wanted to say. The last thing I wanted to address, she said, well, it's not in my circle. If someone doesn't like you, whatever, find someone you do like. They are. It's called a passport. They are. They're coming out there to say, I can't do it. This person doesn't like me. I'm going to go over here. And even if she doesn't look like me, I'd rather go for respect and peace than to get someone who shares my hue, okay, and take the respect. And the other thing that we forget is we get so myopic in our view. We get so myopic that I can stay in the community and not be in America. What a lot of people don't want to understand is that when it comes to the transatlantic slave trade or whatever, more slaves went to Central and South America than America, period. So if I want another black female, okay, if I want another black female, I can go to Central America. I can go get an Afro-Colombian. I can get an Afro-Cuban. I can get someone, a woman out of the Caribbean. I can get some woman out of Jamaica. I can go to Brazil or Portugal. There are plenty of black women everywhere. I didn't even mention Africa. So I can stay in the community and still leave America. Because I know some people they're gonna be, black loyal. You can be black loyal outside of America. One last thing before I rest the mic. Before we go any further, I want everyone to consider a couple things. I already said that, the black men's been taking L's for the past 60 years, and of course it's going to be dismissed. A couple things I want you guys to remember during this discourse is I want you guys to look at what Kevin Samuels would say sign language, right? And that's shame, insults, guilt need to be right. But I want you to look at signal. Shame, insults, guilt need to be right. Attacks and lies. And then I also want you to look at one more thing and pay attention to one more thing. That's MED, like med, right? And that's for moving the goalposts, arguing from extremes, or deflection. Okay, I just want you guys to kind of pay attention to those type of things, because men are not going to get any credit for anything during this discourse, right? I'm not going to get any credit for anything, but I want you guys to keep that in mind doing this, okay? Because usually when someone has to resort to this, and I'm not accusing her of this because we haven't even got deep into the conversation, so I'm not accusing her of this. But as we get deeper, just watch out for the signal, right? Because usually when someone has to do that, it means they really don't have an argument, right? It's just their argument is just riddled with non sequiturs. But we're gonna stay on task. We're gonna do what we have to do, okay? The black community is saved. If the black man saves himself, he is saving the black community. And you don't have to stay in America. You don't have to get up with shame. Oh, it's a disgrace. Or if you don't find someone you like, you got to go somewhere else. That's just that's that whole definition of insanity. Okay. If I'm in this pond and I'm not catching fish, pardon the metaphor, then go to this pond. But no, her solution is go to the other side of the same pond. It makes no sense. With that, I rest.
All right, Reese. So I know you got a lot to respond to, but before you get to the response, Reed, do you have any direct question you want to ask her? She's going to respond to everything you said, but do you have any direct question you want to ask her once she responds to everything that you just laid on the table?
Yeah. If she could, okay, you know what? I got one. What I would like to ask, what exactly does the modern black woman have to offer a traditional black man? That's my initial question there. Go ahead.
All right, Reese. So I know you're going to have the Mac for a little bit because you got a lot to respond to and you got a question. So go ahead, girl. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
My whole head is exploding between him and the comments. I don't know what's worse. The modern women versus traditional women. I don't really know if I have the answer for all of those women. I know personally, in my experience with women, that we are dynamic. We don't fall into these categories. I know women who make well over six figures, very sophisticated women who, when we go out, we drink and we twerk together. And we go home and go back to work and don't wear weaves. This is all my hair. And um, I don't even go and get my nails done. I buy nails at the store. Um, I don't know how to help a man to realize that if he is coming across women that are not of his liking, that's his fault. I don't know how to make him see that, because in my circles, like I said, the men and women that I spend my time with, we do not fit in these Pookie Ray Ray categories. We're all intellectuals. We're all forward thinkers. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all highly paid people. We're all of us are doing advanced work in the community. All of us have high value. So I can't relate, to be quite honest with you. Um, the Kevin Samuels community, the people that even listen to that jargon, it lets me know that that person's mind is looking for leadership that they don't personally have within themselves. Because to have a Kevin Samuels preaching to you and telling you where to place your value and how to quantify your value, it speaks volumes about where you already feel your value is at. If you're looking for those type of social cues to find it, there is no way I would ever personally go to a social media platform of all places to host and embody a discussion about personal value and self worth in my real, actual life and relationships. So, modern women, traditional women, I don't see that there is a divide there. I think traditional women have modern ways. And I think modern women have traditional values as well. Like I said, it just depends on where you're going and what type of women are you associating yourself with. If you find yourself not being appreciated by a woman who you consider to be high value, that is something you need to look in the mirror and figure out why. Because if a high value woman is unattainable to you to the point where all you have been able to experience is these women that are out here twerking and having babies by anybody that comes along, that lives on welfare, has no ambition, we're describing a community of men and women when we speak on that part of society. We're not talking about just Black women. And so somebody on here said that I think it was our brother Reed said that I said a man doesn't deserve respect if he doesn't work for it. And that idea is, again, it makes my head explode because I did not say that. I said that they create an environment where their woman can respect them. Now, in our relationships in this low vibrational subculture of our people, you see a lot of arguing going on between men and women. Once again, I can use myself as an example. I don't argue with people in my circle. There is not one man in my life that I'm going to have a full fledged argument with. I'm not doing it. I don't have enough time to do it. So the idea that a man would shun away from or shy away from the work that it takes to create an environment of respect is, again, what I'm talking about when I say this is disgraceful. How can a person expect to be respected where they have not laid the foundation for that to occur? I cannot imagine a grown man saying, I want to be respected, but why should I have to earn it? What do you expect? This is the question that I'm trying to get to. If a man is not creating, like, for example, if a man approached me today as an entrepreneur, as a woman who is a forward thinker, as a woman who is planning for my future and taking steps every day to solidify my future, and if a man came to me and he had no job, he had no ambition, he had no plan, he had nothing to offer besides his physical body or maybe a couple dollars out for dinner, he would not be able to grasp my attention. Most of the time, um, there is no ability for a man to even be in that pool of women that he is talking about. He doesn't see. You probably don't see them because they don't see you, and that's your problem. That's not the woman's problem. Um, there was another point that was made about holding people accountable. Like, do leaders hold their subjects or the people that are following them accountable? Um, this is it's very interesting that, first of all, that somebody would want to hold someone else accountable before they want to hold themselves accountable for what is happening. In my personal journey of growth and development and learning who Sharice is, what do I have to offer the man in my life or the child that I'm raising or the community that I'm a part of every day? I'm not going around looking for other people to tell, I want you to live by my standards. I want you to do this and do that. I don't want you to be here, be this. I don't want you to look like this. I don't want you to dress like that. Instead of me looking in the mirror and saying, Sharice, cover your body. Sharice, speak kindly to other people. Sharice, don't argue with people who don't see what you're trying to say. Just allow yourself to move on and be happy. I'm not going to go and look for accountability that I can hold on other people. I'm going to look for accountability as a leader that I can hold on myself. And this is the reason why a lot of women do not want to be in these relationships where a man is constantly looking at her to hold up his standards of what he thinks should and should not be before he himself is able to be a living testimony of his own standards. If you want a woman to be successful and intellectual and all these, healthy and all these beautiful, traditional things, display those characteristics for her in order to make sure that your accountability doesn't come off as you capping and trying to be in control of something that you're not in control of. Because again, accountability on other people looks like you trying to control somebody, which you do not have control over other people. But you being accountable for yourself says that you are looking for an internal source of leadership where you're saying, I know what it takes for it to build success. So I'm not going to go and attract a woman that's not successful and then hold her accountable for not being successful. No. What you're going to do in a higher vibration is actually be successful yourself and go and court a woman who is either successful on her own without you holding her accountable, or you invite her into your world and allow her to contribute to the accountability that you're able to hold on yourself, and you all grow together in your success. But again, looking for somebody to hold accountable is a sign of weakness and control. You are trying to do something for someone else. You need to be focused on your own reality. You're if you want to talk about saving yourself, then do that. Save yourself. You don't need to hold everybody else accountable. That's their job, not yours.
Do you have a question that you want to ask, Reed, before we let him respond?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily have a question in particular. I don't think I understand why. So maybe I'll just form my statement into a question because what good does it do to constantly look for things that you can point out about the lower parts of our culture, about the people who have not yet become aware, the people who have not yet made it to the whatever level of intellectual, growth or maturity you feel you've made it to. But what good does it do to pick out all of the negative things that you can pick out about a certain group of people when there's so many things out here that Black women are doing, and we're doing it very well and doing it very right for ourselves? Why would you not build us up from where we are instead of trying to beat us down from the place that we've built ourselves up to?
All right, Robert, hold on, you're on mute. Before you respond to that, I want the audience to know that we're going to actually bring you guys up in about 20 minutes. In about 20 minutes, we're going to put the link in the chat, and you guys are going to get an opportunity because there's a lot of people in there talking smack. So I'm not saying y'all talking smack like y'all not speaking the truth. Don't think that's what I mean when I say that. I'm just saying that y'all got a lot to say. So I want you guys to come up and say it in here on the stage so we can hear what you guys got to say. Bring your statistics, your opinions, your thoughts, your views, and any question you have for Reese or Robert, they'll definitely be willing to answer it. And then with that being said, Robert, the floor is yours. Okay.
Okay, thank you. This this is sad, but a lot of that, the whole argument is, I mean, it's almost set up as a straw man, making things or saying things that I did not say and trying to beat that. Like, we're not looking for someone to hold accountable. Okay. It's just kind of a byproduct of what happens when you're trying to align your program or have a woman get on your program. And if it kind of gets out of alignment, you put her, you hold her accountable. But I want people to recognize what happened, right? The entire time in her whole diatribe, she was avoiding accountability. You shouldn't have to hold anyone accountable. It's accountability in yourself and redefining what accountability is. We all know what accountability is. A boss holds their employees accountable. She kind of tiptoed around that and offered a word salad. A parent holds their children accountable. Society will hold you accountable. If you speed, they will hold you accountable by giving you a speeding ticket, so on and so forth. So this is a very elementary type thing to understand. The other thing she did was that she wanted to say, oh, well, why would you want to appeal or talk about or pick on or criticize the lowest part of our community? And no, first, I didn't do that. But notice she did that. Notice when she described, a black man and all the others, she said, oh, well, if he has no ambition, he has no job, and he has no money, he's not on my level, which only reveals her hypergamy. But that's okay. Every woman's hypergamy is just the levels are different or whatever, right? But when she describes her, look at what she did. So all these masculine traits. It was like, oh, well, the circle I'm in, we do six figures and all that. I mean, I do okay myself, right? But she's in her circle. She's like, oh, well, we do six figures and we work hard and we do this and all that, right? High value women. First of all, guys, we're not looking for high value women. We're looking for high quality women. And the traits are none of which you named in your Discord. Nothing you named was found in a traditional woman. And then another thing, guys, there's going to be a lot of blurring the lines. Oh, traditional woman, modern woman, I really don't see the difference. Oh, there's a huge difference. And we're going to get to those differences. But there is a monumental difference, a chasm, okay? As big as the Grand Canyon, that there is a difference, okay? I've experienced those differences, okay? So we don't care about your education, don't care about the money that you make. Why? Because it's not going to be contributed to us if we make a family, right? So if I asked you, so my question would be to you was this. One, do you need a man? Do you need a husband? I want people to pay attention to her response, to her response. Do you need a man? Do you need a husband? And none of us will be surprised at the answer, at your response. So no, we're not doing that. We're not gonna change the narrative. We're not looking for someone to hold accountable, right? When we go to a traditional woman, there's not a whole lot of accountability to be had, right? And you say, oh, well, if someone doesn't like, someone who doesn't like you, go somewhere. That's exactly what we're doing. That's why you save yourself. You just go somewhere else. And we get a lot of pushback from modern women. Why are you leaving? Why stay here? We got to do so much other stuff to get a little bit of respect. Okay. Felipe, he can get respect and he didn't have that much. Well, if you don't make that much money, you shouldn't be in this person's circle or whatever. So now you got to have a certain amount of money to have a certain amount of respect. What about the regular guy? What about you want to describe the Pookie and the Ray Rays, okay? You want to describe them and use that to make your point. Again, gentlemen, arguing from extremes, okay? She don't give the regular guy, she don't give the common guy she don't use them as an example. The guy's making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Oh, that's no. You go all the way to the bottom, okay? All the way to the bottom. And just like you don't claim the ratchets with twerking and all that. Guess what? We don't claim the Pookies and the Ray Rays. We don't claim that. And let me go ahead and use the stats, data, statistics, things like that. And let me go ahead and cite the sources. You can go to blackdemographics.com. You can go to the CDC. You can go to articles and peer reviews of family studies. You go to family courts. You can go to dating apps and things like that. Okay, so now you got all your sources, and you can also go to Google. You're not talking about the average guy, okay? You're using the lowest part of this whole demographic. I'm not. I'm saying traditional women versus modern women. That's it. That's across the board, regardless, okay? Regardless if it's a Keisha or anybody, okay? Traditional versus modern. That's it. And I'm repeating it so that the audience can get it, even if you want to twist it and change the narrative, okay? So that's what I'm doing. So if we look at, just for instance, family court, okay, let's just go with that. We all know, it's no news flash, that most marriages end in divorce, okay? We know most of them, over 50% knocking on the door, 60%, but we know marriage rates are going down because men are tapping out. They're like, okay, I'm not getting married here. Forget that. I'm not getting married here. Why? Because as much as 80% of them are initiated by the woman. Now, I know you're going to make some, well, no, you know what? I won't assume. for you. I'll say others. They want to say, oh, well, it must be because this, something else the man did, right? It's got to be abuse when they got the stats on that too. It's less than 10% of the time that they get divorced because of abuse. But we have this thing called no fault divorce, right? Because before that, you had to prove why you want to get a divorce. But after that, it's anything, okay? It's whatever. You can get divorced for anything. So now you got it 80%. Now, if we go to what you would call the high quality woman, divorce goes up to initiated 90% of the time. Again, hypergamy. That goes up. They will initiate divorce 90% of the time. And 93% of the time, they're awarded the custody of the children. Okay. And depending on your state, you can lose half your assets. You can pay alimony. You can pay child support. What man in his logical mind would sign up for something like that or stick in the community and stay with that? When you are much maligning them and saying they're all just a bunch of pookies and ray rays, when that's only about 16% on the low end and 19% on the high end, since 51% of men are single and childless, and men from 18 to 30 have not had sex in the last year, or they are virgins. And only 30% of Black men are married with children, of which 85% of those that are married to a Black woman. With that, I rest.
All right, all right. Remember, you guys, we have people in the audience. You guys are gonna be able to come up in about 13 minutes. 13 minutes. I'm gonna add the link into the chat and let you guys come up and ask either question. Since we're getting closer to 13 minutes, I want to give Reese, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to what he has to say, and then we're gonna definitely bring everybody up, okay?
Yeah, sure. So I am again floored at all of the extrapolated statements. This is I never equated or made it seem like Black men have no value or that they're all Pookie or Ray Ray. I specifically said that the Black men in my circle are contributors regularly to the life that I'm building, and I reciprocate that to the people that are in my circle. And so, if we have a difference of opinion about who is modern and who is traditional, as far as women are concerned, that's fine with me. I'm not going to argue the point that people are dynamic and a traditional woman can have modern character, because obviously humanity is full of people with dynamic characters, people with dynamic personalities. So I'm not going to reduce myself to argue about that. Um, Also, the idea that high earning women are not desirable because that does not equate to quality. This is difficult for me because when we are talking about building our community, we're talking about establishing generational wealth. We're talking about raising children who are prepared to be leaders. We're talking about children who have examples being set for them on how to survive in the world that is their home right now. And so to say that a successful woman is not valuable because of her idea of success, whatever her idea of success is. To me, a successful person is a person who is doing their life intentionally, not by force. And so I consider myself to be a successful woman because I don't report into anybody's job. I am living independently off of my knowledge and skills, and I do what I love every day. And so for me, that is what makes me a high value, high quality woman, whatever word you want to ascribe to it. And so, again, a man who is not living the version of success that I have defined for myself, it's not very likely that he's going to be able to come into my life and tell me that I should be living differently according to his standards, whatever they may be. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is I'm going to find or be attracted or attract a man who aligns with the lifestyle that I've built for myself and the intentions I have for my future. I'm not going to down a man who is not aligned with that. If I say, well, you don't have a business and you're not building generational wealth and you don't fit into my vision of the future, I'm not going to talk trash about that man. What I'm going to do is let him know he and I are not compatible for a relationship if that's what he's approached me for. If we're not on the same page, we're just not on the same page. Do I need to hold him accountable? If he's cute or fine or whatever, do I engage in a relationship with him and then hold him accountable for everything that I feel he needs to do different? That is ridiculous. It sounds stupid. And so what I would employ for anybody, what I would challenge them to do is stop pursuing relationships that are not compatible with the standards that you see for yourself in your in your life. It doesn't make sense. And I am what y'all want to get in my personal business, and I'm not going to talk about my personal life. Whether or not I'm married would never change my idea. It would never change what I'm saying or the sentiment that I have. So I'm not going to answer any questions about whether or not I'm married or not. Just know that I've been in a couple of long relationships, more than 6 or 7 years each one. There's two long term relationships that I've been in. And the last long term relationship that I should say the second long term relationship I was in, it ended because of what I was just describing now. There was no blame, there was no animosity. Actually, I'm still very good friends with this person. We were together for 7 years, and we decided not to be together only because my vision for the future and what I wanted to build in this lifetime was not of concern to the person that I was with. I was not going to say he's a low value man, or was I going to down him out and all these other things that people want to, oh, he's a bum and all. No, he's a perfectly good person, perfectly good man. He just was not cut out for my future. And so I decided not to waste time trying to hold him accountable, because I was actually doing that in my relationship. Okay. I was actually doing that in that relationship. I was trying to um tell him all of the visions that I wanted to build and all the things I wanted to do with our relationship, our family. And I was just going to town telling this man how I wanted him to live according to my standards and my accountability that I was trying to hold him to. And that's when I had the very rude awakening that this is not possible. This is not something that I should waste my time doing, because this man has every right to live his life the way he wants to without me holding him accountable for some fictional idea that exists in my head, not in his. So for me to hold him accountable for something that he ain't had nothing to do with, it made no sense. But this is the way I wanted to live my life. So I had to make the decision to just let the brother know this isn't going to work for me, because I'm doing something different. I'm pulling in this direction and you're pulling in that direction. We're not equally yoked. And I just had to respect that. So it doesn't matter. And for the to answer that question, yes, my future does consist of a partner. It will be the type of relationship where I don't necessarily need to hold the man accountable, because he's holding himself accountable while I'm holding myself accountable, which is a much more desirable situation for me to be in personally. I'm not running behind somebody talking about accountability. If your mama raised you like my mama raised me, you're accountable for yourself. My mother did not raise me to be out here looking to other people for sources of power that exist in me. I'm not going to be in some man's face, or have no man in my face trying to tell me how I should be living and this and that. If you don't like who I am, if you do not appreciate where I am going, if you do not like the way that I live my life, leave me alone. And what I'm saying is that there are several women in the Black community who will fit both of those stereotypes. Now, in my personal journey, I've met several Black men that don't fit into my idea of what the future holds for me. But does that mean I'm going to walk out on all the brothers that I see because some of them didn't work out for me? No, what I'm doing is changing the woman in the mirror, because what she has to do is attract the Black man who is ready to be in the type of relationship building experience that I'm ready for. And so when that happens, then I will settle down. Yes, I will have a partner. Yes, I do need my partner. I need my man like I need air and water. And so I'm not, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to blame anyone for not being that guy. I'm not going to hold somebody accountable for something that they never told me was a part of their life or their journey. I'm not going to be looking for blame that I can place on that person to tell him that he didn't do good enough to be for me and all these other things. Listen, brother, live your life. If that's not for me, it's not for me. Am I going to blame you, dog you out, and have all these other conversations around all of social media talking about how all of these black men ain't nothing and ain't this and that? No, I'm not going to do that. And I used to be that woman, but it took for a brother to come to me and tell me, Sharice, do you really think that all of us are like that? And I had to stop myself and go back in my memory bank. Like I said, throughout my life experience, I have learned, I have grown, I have been fed by nothing but brothers. And so I don't know if this gentleman, Robert Reed, heard me when I said that before, but I'll say it again. I know that there's an entire pool of black men who are absolutely beautiful souls, who are absolutely leaders in their communities, who are absolutely leaders in my own life. I would never down a brother because he doesn't fit my standards. What I'm going to do again is I'm going to be around people, men and women, brothers and sisters, who align with what I believe is good for my life, what I feel fed from. And if that does not align, then you simply don't exist. I'm not going to find an Asian man, or I'm not going to go and say, "Oh, well, it's because the black men raped me because I was sexually assaulted after being."
Graped you.
Oh, okay, great to me. By I'm sorry, I forgot that note.
Right.
But having these experience with black men, I was absolutely drugged. Something was put in my drink, and it was recorded. The whole sexual assault was recorded. This was nothing but a house full of brothers. Actually, it was two brothers in the house. I was responding to a job announcement that they had for some kind of party. And I go there and I'm in college, just as green as I want to be. I wasn't even 18 years old yet. I started college early. And I get there and these guys are, putting together the whole show. There's no Caucasian man that's ever done that to me. There is no Caucasian man that's ever been in my face, downgrading me, degrading me, or telling me twerk something. Or I'll never forget being in college where you would go to these parties and you will see a whole bunch of men just standing around, throwing money on women and doing these things. This is coming back from our video. What is it? What was it? BET. It uncut. BET uncut. That was our culture. That was what our men desired and wanted from women in their lives. And I mean, it wasn't like Caucasian men forced our community to do that. They didn't force a black man to call on a black woman to be that way. They didn't call on a black woman to agree. That was something that we as a team decided to do in our community. The black man desires it, the black woman fulfills it. And now we're over around here blaming each other. Blaming each other for what? These are voluntary actions that we have allowed to seep into our community, and now we're saying we don't like it, but we are the ones who have embodied it for this long. So again, what good does it do for us to sit around pointing the finger at each other for things that we have done as a collective body of members of the same community? And now we want to turn around. Oh, you guys are terrible. You you don't deserve to be here. You're not a high value. You're a low value woman. Really?
All right, all right, all right. So we got one person up. Reed, I know you want to respond. I know you want to
Yes.
respond, and you will.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you respond, okay? But we're at the
Okay.
7 o'clock mark, and I got a few people in the studio, so I want them to get their questions. Just take your notes because as soon as we finish the Q&A, I am gonna give you an opportunity to respond to everything she said, and I give you enough time to do that. So the first person we're gonna bring up is Soul. What's up? Welcome to Let's Talk Podcast.
What's up? What's
How
up?
you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope everybody's
Thank
doing well.
you. Yeah, we're all
Um,
doing great, man. I'm so glad that you decided to come on. Now,
Thank you.
when you come on, if you have a question, I
Mhm.
want you to let the person know who you're directing it to. Try
Sure.
not to use any foul language. Not that I think you do, but we want to try to grow the channel. So no foul language, and direct it to whoever you're directing to. If it's both, if it's one of whoever it is, and if you have any questions, this is your opportunity now. So the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for having me. So, no, number one, I know Brother Robert. He's a good brother. I've known him for many years, and I can vouch for his veracity. I can vouch for his character, his personality. What he's telling you is true as far as how he lives is concerned. So, I want to make sure that everybody that's here in the chat room, I want to make sure the panelists and the hosts understand who he is. I'm going to vouch for that, brother. Okay. Number two, there's a few things logically speaking that we have to understand. I actually wrote a book called The Polygamous Papers, an introduction to polygamous culture and its principles, pitfalls, and ethics. And in that book, I outline tribalism and what an actual economy looks like. Because if you look in Greek, echo means house, nomos means knowledge of. So when you talk about economy, you're talking about knowledge of the house. And if you look in traditional societies, they don't believe that you know anything strictly from an intellectual perspective. If you're not doing it, you will be dismissed. I know that personally because I'm an ethnographer. I've lived among different traditional households. I've traveled to different countries, and you will be dismissed as a man or a woman if, for example, you were talking about relationships between men and women, and you don't have a man, or if you're a man, you don't have a wife, you don't have a consort, you don't have a concubine. You will be dismissed. So I want to start there. So we have a foundation. Number two, when you look at the fact that if a woman is traditional, she's going to know that it's out of place, especially publicly, to go and tell men what they should and should not be doing. Because if she's indeed part of an economy and she's a traditional woman, that means she has a sisterhood, elder sisters who are probably married or are tied with traditional men in their families or in their communities who will check those brothers if those brothers are indeed out of line. Now, when a man is indeed powerful, he has a strong economy. That means he has the ability, especially in a modern context. If you're not doing things internationally and you have a business, you're going to be poor. That business is going to fail. So men who are doing business, I'm one of them. I do business in other countries as well. I have ties to things in other countries. I've been given acreage in other countries. I've been given access to languages in other countries where I'm being taught other people's language. I've been given access to things that will offer me business. I have multiple wives, so I can actually speak on that too. So I've done that in a traditional society, whereas because of the way I was raised here, I was raised as a traditional man. But that vast majority of American Black women are not traditional. And for anybody to argue the point that they are, it's a complete lie. Now, are there traditional Black women in the United States? Absolutely. But you all are so far and few between that, and you generally don't choose the men in your youth. I want everybody to understand this. We ain't waiting until you 45 and then you became obese, you got kids and all that. We're not trying to wait for that. We want you traditional when you're 18 to 28, ideally. And then those men who are, say, 28 to 35, a little bit older, we want to be married. Now you're scrunching up your face, but that's the problem. I'm going to go to the third point. When you mention that we do not need men to mention accountability when it comes to building a community, that is absolutely false. And that's one reason why the so-called Black community, which has no shared language, it has no shared religion, it has no shared spiritual system, has no shared marriage customs, can't even agree on that, then that means there's no community. Okay. So when you say that men do not need to come to the table when we meet a woman with her so-called friends, which doesn't exist between men and women, but when you say we're going to meet, we're going to try to build an intimate relationship, and we don't have to put accountability on the table, that's absolutely false. That's what men do. We bring structure, order, stability, and discipline. That's what we do. When men go to other men and we build friendships, we always hold each other accountable. I have been told by my elder brothers what to do. I've been told by my male elders what to do. And when I do meet a woman who is what I call a good Black woman, 99 out of 100 times she's also married. And even she doesn't necessarily tell me what to do and why I should travel and when I can travel. I can marry whoever I want to marry. I can marry whoever I want to marry, if she's Black or not. And historically speaking, Black men from every empire, every village and town When we travel, we generally will get a woman wherever we go. That's if you're a warrior, that's if you're a merchant, that's if you're anyone who is simply relocating. So everything I just told you is not subjective. It's objective. It's on the pages of history. And anybody who wants to argue the point has to bring historical record, because we don't have records of black men not marrying not only black women, but marrying other women, especially if we travel. And travel in modern times is actually a sign of economic power. And if we're talking about marrying black men who are of sound mind and body and spirit, then we're talking about black men who have some money. Because even if you travel to one of the cheapest places to live in the world, which is the Philippines, which I live there, part time. So Brother Robert can vouch for that. When I go there and I'm there, you need at least comfortably $5,000 in your pocket. We're not talking about what you also have in the bank. We're not talking about your investments. We're just talking about what you're going to use there for a month. That's just to get your spot. That's just to go around. Brother Robert, you have a consort in the Philippines as well as I do. We understand and we know. And when I went and met those women, I had to meet their families, and their families vetted me and I vetted them. You try to do that with a black woman, she ain't trying to hear all that. I've tried to do that here, and I hear the story. So what we're saying, sis, is that yes, there are some good black women here, and I'm talking to Sister Reese here. There are some good black women here. However, you are so few and far between, and the tendency is for you to wait until you're 30 plus years old. We ain't trying to hear that when you're 30 plus and you just now found femininity. We're not trying to hear all that. It's too late. Just like with men, there's a point of no return, where if we wait too late to do the righteous thing, you all don't have to check for us, and we understand that. So I know there's bad black men out there, but nah, the black men who are traveling, you have to be a man of character, because in other countries, if you're not, you're going to go to prison. They're going to put you in a gulag straight up. They're going to beat you. They're going to jump you. But black men don't have these problems when we go overseas. We rarely ever have any problems when we go and not only travel to, but work overseas, when we relocate overseas, when we marry overseas. We rarely ever have any problems. So I'm telling y'all what time it is. I've been traveling internationally since I was 17. I'm old now. So nobody can tell me anything about that. The men that raised me, the ministers at the Apostolic Pentecostal churches that I grew up in, they raised me. My father, my grandfather, my uncles, they taught me how to be a man. I saw things. They talked less and they did more. And that's what black men are doing now. We're voting with our feet. And when we find one of y'all who are good in the United States, we talk you up. We do talk you up. But there's very few of you compared to the black men who got a little money. We can go overseas. We have businesses overseas. So again, everything I told you is well documented. We can't try to argue against the existence of sunlight.
But let me try to get her a chance to respond to that. Thank you so much for bringing your experience, because you actually have done it. So I appreciate that, because a lot of people might come on here and they got a lot to say, but they really don't have the experience. So you having the experience, I appreciate that. So thank you for that. Everyone else that's down here, Reese, I want to give you a chance to respond. This is the Q&A section. I enjoyed everything you said, but I got to give everybody a chance to talk. And we only do this for 30 minutes. So everyone else who's coming up, Zadok, Stanley, Tucker, Jessica, everybody that's coming up, try to direct your question and your comment to whoever you're directing it to. Both are either or. And try to keep it into like at least under 5 minutes. That way we can get everybody in. So Reese, because he pretty much is kind of on the same side Reed is, I don't really need to hear what Reed has to say, because he's just got to agree. So I'm going to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to respond so that we can get to the other people on the caller. But try to keep it short, because it's a lot of people got to ask you some questions, girl. So go ahead.
I appreciate it. All I can really say is that the mentality here, I think black women should probably just disregard men who insist on seeing us from these low positions. Um, I don't know not one person from any category of humanity, race or not, who is traditional at the age of 18. At the age of 18, you want a traditional woman? In what world do we have teenagers with expectations of them being traditional for the sake of uh, your
in
standards?
Eastern countries and in
Your
South America?
Oh my God.
we don't live there. We don't live there. We live here.
Going over there and not marrying you.
Right. Well, what I'm saying,
Hold on.
I've,
Hold on,
You
hold
you
on, hold
said
on.
in the world.
Let her respond. Let her respond. Let her respond, and
I
then
mean,
we'll definitely let you guys get to it. But go
yeah,
ahead, Reese.
like I said, even if you do get married, you're still a teenager. You guys are saying it like a woman doesn't have any space to learn or grow or explore
They're
herself
considered
or
adults at 18 in
learn.
other countries. They've been raised to be wives at 18. They've been raised to be wives already. That so that you have to
Okay, so
change the
let's go
perspective.
with that. Let's go with it. Let's just go
They're
with that
already
idea.
adults.
Let's just go with that idea that our children should be raised that way. Is that likely for a black woman to raise her child that way?
It
Is
doesn't
it
matter.
likely?
It's not our problem to solve. What we're telling
Oh,
you
it's
is
not.
we agree with you
So
if you
our
want black
children are not
information.
your children? Is that what you're saying? Our
Well,
children are not your children?
sister, look, I'm not here for you to twist words. I'm the wrong man to try to
It's a
twist words.
question. I
What
just
I'm telling
responded to your
you
It's some
question.
words.
is, all we have to do is look at Christina.
You
Pardon me for
said
a
it's
second. She
not your
because she's
problem.
saying things that are false. She's
Hold on. Let me pause both of you guys. So Reese, make your comment to him or your question to him again, and then I'm gonna let him respond. So Reese, go ahead, ask your comment or your question to him, and then he'll respond to it.
The question is that, like you said, these are it's not you're saying it's not your problem that our children are not raised to be traditional. It's not a black man's problem that the children are not being raised to be traditional. So the question is it at all, just looking at the way our society is going right now, uh, is it feasible for a black woman in these times, whether she's high earning or not, whether she's your definition of quality or not, for her to raise traditional children without a man being anywhere concerned about it at all?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna let you respond. So try to keep it short because I gotta get to other people. Okay, but the floor is yours.
all right. So you totally ignored and did not respond to anything that I actually said. That was completely objective. The fact of the matter is, when you go overseas, and I've seen it, because it's apparent to me that you travel. If you travel for tourism purposes. I'm not a tourist. I'm a traveler. There's a difference. So when I go to these places and I'm speaking with elders, people who are 90 years old, and sometimes I'm speaking in their language. Oh, that's right, because a black man can speak multiple languages when we travel. When I go over there, I'm speaking with them, and my consorts and my wives are speaking with them and translating for me in places where I don't speak the language. I'm finding out that, oh, the 18, 19, 20, and 25 and 30-year-olds, because I did not limit it to 18-year-olds, but you're trying to hone in on that. I said 18 to 28, which is a marrying age in every country you go to. And yes, those women are raised to be wives in fact, most parts of the world. They're very mature. They speak multiple languages. That is a fact. Most women worldwide speak multiple languages, but black women in the United States don't speak multiple languages for the most part. So I can't hear you because Christina has you muted. What I'm responding to is what you said, what you asked me. It's not my
Okay.
responsibility.
It's
It's
not
not
mine.
it's not our responsibility to raise every child, especially if you're a single mom. It's not my
Oh,
responsibility
oh,
to,
it's not
to
your
raise.
responsibility to raise your kids.
No, our children, our children.
Oh
If
my
it's
God.
my children, yes, not your
It's
children,
twisting.
not your children. My
Okay, let's
children
get
need.
to, let's get to Zadok. Zadok, Stanley, look, y'all come on in here. Zadok, get in here. Then Stanley, I'm gonna hit you up next. Then I gotta get to Jessica and Jay Tucker. So Zadok, well, get into the building.
Hey, hey, what's up? Salute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm glad you're
Man,
here. What's
what
up?
is man, what in the see this the problem with black folk is going on here. Um look, and I'm addressing this to Rob Reed. Hey, I appreciate brothers who travel like the world, praise God, you might be in a field or something that has you in that regard, but the majority of black men aren't going to be individuals that travel the world. Some of us might travel the country, but probably not the world. So, salute for that. Hey, Rob, do you still believe
Yes,
in the word of God? You still accept the Bible as the word of God?
absolutely.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm asking is because you had gave some stats right earlier and I was listening. And I just
Yeah.
want to ask a question for everybody in the room. How many of you have in America been reached out to for Quinnipiac polls or ABC polls when it comes to like presidential campaigns? How many of you actually have been on a lot of those?
Could
Probably
you
not
rephrase?
many of us.
Yeah.
Now, the
Probably.
reason I ask that is because if you sit up at night and watch a poll and it says, well, 83% of Americans feel this, who the hell are they talking about? Because they ain't talking to me or nobody I know. So stats, can't be used too general. It's a sample of a small pool of people. And like like when the pandemic was happening and people was talking about, hey, if you make like more than $36,000, you're in the top 1% income earners in the world. To try to make somebody in the country feel like they're wasteful with $36,000 gross. Don't per capita me to another country standard unless I can take my 36 grand with me and it comes in continually the same in American dollars while I live there. If not, then what that is here is damn near poverty. So if we stick to what's happening here in the Bible, Rob, the Lord told the men of Israel, he said, when your wives and your daughters commit adultery and fornication, I will not punish them because you have transgressed my laws and broken my covenant. Are you familiar with that text, bro?
Yeah.
So in your opinion, because I'm only coming from the biblical worldview, because it don't take, why should I talk about anyone's personal life? What do you think in the scripture is the prescription? So if God is telling these men, when your wives do foul and your daughters, I'm not going to punish them because you have dropped the ball as leaders in the community. What do you think God says in the text turns that around in his sight?
That's it. That's only in fact you're assuming, much like my opponent, you're assuming that it's the guy's fault. Now, in the case of the scriptures, it is in the case of the scriptures is the guy's fault if he is trying to lead his family and he is derelict in his duties. He's not doing what he should do, and they are going astray because of what he's doing, right? But in this case, if I'm talking about women who don't belong to me, they're not my wife, and we're talking about the community at large. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the community at large, which means all the black women in the American community is not my wife and nor my responsibility. So we're talking about that. And then to minimize stats, I think that's very disingenuous. I mean, I have love and respect for you. I don't think that's just, we have whole classes in college talking about statistics and stuff.
No, I didn't minimize. I said you can't overuse statistics to generalize us. That's all. I didn't minimize statistics.
But statistics are generalizations, because if not, then we're reduced to talking about our own anecdotal experiences. Oh, in my circle, that your circle doesn't, your personal circle doesn't matter to everyone at large.
Just as the way, hold on. Hey Rob, hold on. Just as if they poll 500 people, that stat that says what 80% of Americans believe is supposed to mean what to us who don't agree with the poll and were never polled by it, if it's only a small pool of people, and then they promote the stat as this is what happens to out of 400 million Americans, 80% think this. That 500 can't represent that, because Zadok I can show up with 50 black married couples of different economic statuses, and they are all high value people. And what makes them high value is not their money count. The high value is in the value of their morality, that has a couple who together would be considered poor, making 55, 60 grand a year, and a higher end economic couple that makes probably $250,000 to $500,000 a year. But what makes them all high value is that they're all keeping their marriage covenants with each other, and they're all raising children similar.
Okay. All right, he got cut. Can you hear me, Sister Christine?
Yeah, hold on. The money, they're not equal economically, but they're equal in values. So what I'm saying is, if we're going to talk about holding black women or black men accountable, the one brother said when he go across the seas, you have these women who are being raised to be wives. I bet you they're not all being raised to be wives by single mamas. They have a family, society, culture narrative that overall produces more of an abundance of those men and women. So in this society, that's not always the reality. And so we're going to have to kind of pick and choose what circles we run in to be connected to those values. Isn't that true?
2 points I want to make, brother.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
You can go, Rod. And before you go, Rod, I know you want to respond, but Sal, you're back in the building. Are you ready to take over the Q&A and take control of the floor?
Yeah, what's
All right,
going on? My
so
Wi-Fi still acting up, y'all. The devil was busy, man. The devil was busy, but I'm just trying to stay on. I'm trying to be on.
as long as
So
you
yeah,
on, I want you to run
you
the
keep
show.
going until I get this thing fixed.
Okay,
Okay,
I
all
just
right,
got
fine. So go ahead, Reed.
I got 2 points to make to what Brother Zadok said, and then we can move on to someone else if you want. That's up to you guys. But 2 things. One, on the statistics side, you're saying, well, you know, if I wasn't polled, then the poll doesn't mean anything to me or whatever. But if you go in statistics class, they're gonna some surveys or some polls start with a small number, and then they as they teach you, the larger the number, then you can extrapolate that to the larger community at large. And an exception does not disprove the rule. I can sit here and say right now, most people on the planet are born with 2 legs. Does that mean that every person on the planet is born with 2 legs or currently have 2 legs? No, no, everyone on the planet does not have, 2 legs, but the majority does. So that the exception of the ones who don't have, it does not disprove the rule of those that do. So I just wanted on the statistics, I think it's kind of weird to want to just kind of throw it out because, hey, if I
Yeah,
didn't
but
take
that
the poll.
example was kind of weak, Rob. Come on, bro.
All
Come
right,
on,
but
son.
Zayda, we gotta
Okay, no,
move.
no,
We
no,
gotta.
hold on, no,
Yeah,
no,
y'all
no,
go
no,
ahead. No,
no,
hey,
no,
no,
no.
you know what? You know what? Hey, I'm gonna back off. I would love for you to let me have a conversation with one of these guys. Don't make it about a woman and a man. Make it about 2 men
Well,
looking
we,
at
we can
what are
do
our
that.
answers
Okay,
as
hold
black
on,
men
hold
for
on.
society.
Listen,
No,
Let's
this is what
do
we're
that.
gonna do.
you can do that, but let me finish my other point. You can do that. Let me finish my other point. My other point, you're just saying, oh, well, the brother said he went to other countries and I bet they have the family structure. First of all, that's exactly what he said. He said there's there's a house, there's a man, a woman, and all that, and everybody holds each other accountable and all that, right? But you asked me if I'm familiar with one scripture. Are you familiar with a scripture that, the foolish woman tears down her house with her own hands? That lines perfectly with the divorce statistics, okay? That women are initiating the divorce, okay? So they would tear that down. They can have that structure if they don't just tear down their house, if they don't just say, oh, I don't like this, or you're not on my level, or you're not who I thought I married, or just simply change their mind because of irreconcilable differences or whatever. They could have that structure. See, that's the thing. Everyone's calling a man to lead and do that, be the leader, be that, start with yourself and all that. And when he's in that position, he's a husband, he's a father, he's in that position, and the woman and society who through family courts back them up. They back up their decision to kick him out of his place as the leader, because now all of a sudden he's unworthy. He was worthy enough to marry. He was worthy enough to have children with, but he's not worthy enough to lead and stick it out. And by the way, nothing that my opponent said when she was talking, nothing, you can go back and read the tape, nothing she said had anything to do with a traditional woman, even though she tried to blur the lines. Oh, well, I think it's the same. And, and I'm traditional and it's the traditional this and the modern and everybody's this and that or whatever. No. You didn't say anything traditional. What do traditional, my question, and you can treat it as rhetorical if you want to, but my question is, what are traditional traits in a woman? Everything that was named, I'm successful, I got a lot of money, my education, all that, none of that is traditional whatsoever. And none of that is what men are looking for. So you cannot save the community whatsoever, because especially if you are a traditional man. You should have nothing to do with a modern woman. Just like she was talking about everything she was talking about. Okay, I had this relationship and it didn't work out because of this and that. In a word, hypergamy. Okay, that's it. That's really all that happened. And then she's talking about, well, him holding me accountable and I'm holding him accountable. You don't hold him accountable. He's supposed to be the man you were intending to marry. Okay, I don't know if you got married. I don't care. You don't have to answer that question. But he was someone you said you're in a long-term relationship with. You're not supposed to just sit there and you don't hold him accountable in the same way he would hold you accountable, because guess what? In a traditional marriage, a woman is signing up for the man's program. He's not signing up for the woman's program. That's the part where you got it wrong. And that's what I want the gentleman to hear, that this whole modern and traditional, that is one of the dividing lines right there. They have this own idea. Well, this is my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, and I need someone to come in and line up with that and align it all. No, in a traditional relationship, it doesn't work like that. Now, you can have the kind you want. You can have the kind of relationship you want. I doubt you get it, but you can have that. You can pursue that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that you can't have the kind of relationship you want with a modern man. You can't have it with a traditional man because it ain't gonna work. But you can have with a modern man because you can redefine the rules. You can make up the rules every day as you go. That's fine. That's modern. That's new. But what has worked historically is traditional. Now,
all right, Reed. Let me. Okay, so I have Stanley been here for a while. I know, Reese, you want to respond to all of this, but Zaylock and then was kind of, yeah. So let me just get to the next one. Stanley, and listen, Jessica, Jay Tucker, I know y'all being patient. I'm going to get to you guys. Stanley, go ahead. Get on up here.
Christina.
Yeah,
I won't be long.
Yo, just make sure you reach out to me because I love Rob. But I asked Rob about a scripture. He said he was familiar with it. And I said, well, do you think God prescribes for that to change? Instead of him pointing us out to what God describes, he actually, when it says, see, what you doing is you making that the man's fault. And he deflected. He never answered my question. So I'm going to need to talk with Rob.
Okay,
right?
so we could definitely do that. Rob, I'll talk to both of you guys, and we'll definitely get that going whenever you guys ready. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the smoke.
I'll go to the scripture. That's fine.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. But let's get on to the next caller. So Stanley, go ahead. The mic's yours.
If somebody, I hear a background noise. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Elijah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring you back up, but you gotta mute your mic, okay? Because there's a lot of noise in the background, okay? So mute your mic. I try to mute it, won't let me.
Yeah,
well, go ahead,
can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me pretty well? I don't know if you guys.
Yes, you sound good.
Yeah, praise God. Well, it's a great discussion, and it's stuff I've been listening to. I listen to this discussion every single day. I listen to Kevin Samuel, I listen to Fresh and Fit, and I listen to other people, Pearly and others. And I agree with that sentiment. I agree that the modern day women today has, and I believe the government plays a huge role in that. Had removed us from what the traditional value of a nucleus family is, and unfortunately, what's happening is that a lot of us are going overseas because we're still seeking for that traditional value, and so I think in order for us to market ourselves to one another, we have to understand what we really want from one another. And the thing is, and I hate to say it this way, but my sisters, our modern day sisters, don't know what our brothers really want. They don't know what we really want. But by God's grace, I got myself a traditional wife. And we've been married 18 years right now. And I know I can just move on and just say, hey, I could just say, hey, I could just move on. Hey, I got mine. Hey, you guys just got to get yours. But it's not right to think that way either, because there is a philosophy going around, unfortunately, even with our young women too, that they're not promoted to follow traditional values. And because they're looking to be independent, they tend to lean towards masculinity and losing their femininity, unfortunately. And our brothers, we're looking for feminine women, but it's hard because we feel like we're fighting against ourselves when we bring these women in our lives. So in order for us to have that peace, a lot of us are going overseas to get these traditional women so they can have that nucleus family. But like the brother Rob said earlier, when it comes to the transatlantic slavery, it doesn't all come to America. It also went to other nations as well. So he could still stay within the community, and he still get himself a sister, but he just won't get it with this philosophy of American culture. The American culture has changed the value and the philosophy of what traditional women is. They emasculated the male and masculated the women. So it's like we change its roles, and now everything is flipped upside down, and it's hard for us to find the one that we really truly want today, unfortunately. But I'm keeping my family, my sisters and brothers in prayer, and hopefully that philosophy will change in the soon. But I'm glad people like the late Kevin Samuels had started the idea. I mean, probably somebody before him or not, but he made it popular, and others are following through. And I hope that philosophy gets through so that, our sisters become traditional again, and our brothers can step up in the plate and protect our traditional wives. But that's all I have to say. God bless.
All right, thank you, Stanley. I want to get some more people. Jay Tucker, you've been waiting a long time. Go on ahead. If you got a question, definitely address the person by name, or if you have a comment, let's hear it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me or even inviting me to this forum to begin with. A lot of things that were said here today touching on a very important topic, but I really want to address Sister Reese. First of all, I'm glad you're not using your position to disrespect men or even the husband that you left. Unfortunately, there are too few of you. There are many sisters who are using the same position that you have to down their men, when men did not cause this. Men did not create an environment where you cannot be feminine. It was taken from us. You can look in our history for eons. We have kept you in a position where you could be feminine, not to subdue you or to control you, but to protect and provide for you, because that is what we do. You can look through any course in history from slavery to Reconstruction, where we had Black Wall Street. Y'all were right beside us, equal in every respect. And see, this is why I have a problem with them saying that, oh, if you're not, well, not necessarily that you're not on my levels, therefore I can't be with you. It's good to have that bit of separation, but to sit there and say that, black men don't have this ambition, or that if you don't have it, or they don't have that ambition, that they have no value, that's crazy. That's
As
almost like saying, if women don't do things a certain way, they just have no value whatsoever. And that's not what Robert Reed is saying. What we're saying is that we want women who align with what our goals are. That's all the brother was saying. And as far as our brother bringing up the scripture, I like to bring one more. There's a scripture that says every man will be held accountable for their own works. And anyone who studies the Bible knows that is not gender specific. That applies to all of us.
Yeah.
If you're breaking down a house with your own hands, you will be held responsible, whether you are a man or a woman.
All right, Reese, you wanna respond to that, Reese? Sorry, Tucker, you wanna respond to anything he said?
Yes, I would love to just say that is the sentiment that I have overall. Like for just a plain example, Robert Reed keeps calling me his opponent, and we. This is a discussion. I'm not here to oppose anyone.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm here to present myself from my own perspective, and I think this is that is that expression is indicative of what I'm talking about. Is that in our communities the opposition, the assumption, a presumption of an opposition is where the poison exists. I don't see any of my brothers as my opponent. I don't think a man has any capacity to oppose me. I'm a woman. You can't oppose me. I'm living my life like it's golden. You can't oppose me because you have no control over me. And so these types of things this is the position that I use throughout my life when I am interacting with any person. When my relationship did not work out, me and this man still have a very decent relationship. I've never held him from being with his son. I have never I don't even speak badly about him in front of his child. My every time I get a chance, I'm talking him up to his family, to my child, our child that we share together. I'm constantly looking for ways that I can build him up. The only reason why we could not stay in the same home together is literally just because there was a like I said, a misalignment. Now, Brother Reed says he's not here to sign up for what I want in life. And that could be true, but that doesn't mean that I have to stifle myself or stunt my growth because a person that wants to, attach himself to me or me be attached to him, it's just not working for me. I'm not obligated to be in a situation that does not serve my highest good and that of my son. So it's nothing for me to just say, okay, we tried it, we gave it our best. It's no hard feelings. I'm not blaming you. You're not blaming me. Let's just go our separate ways and see if we can both grow and reach the happiness that we want to reach separately. But this idea, like I said, of opposition in our community is really where the toxicity comes from. Our true opponent, our true enemy are those who took away, like you said, this platform of family, this platform of togetherness that we once had before we were introduced to this social conditioning. So again, the reason why I don't like to play the blame game is because often people like Brother Reed and our brother Soul down here are placing the blame in areas where it doesn't belong. Our Black women and our Black men have been subject to the same conditioning, the same traumas, the same poison that has affected each other. So for one person to point the finger and blame at the other, to me, is counterproductive, and it's not going to get us anywhere. And I would also like to just say, for the general panel, anybody who's up here who wants to answer the question, is if you have so many issues with your Black man or so many issues with your Black woman about women not being traditional, women not being suitable, all this and that, how do we account for all these successful Black marriages out here?
Okay, I want to get to that question, but before y'all get there, okay, I got people in the chat want to hear from some sisters. They want to hear from Jessica.
Yeah.
They want to hear from Shay. So Tucker,
wanna hear
I'm gonna get back to you, Tucker. But I really got to get to Jessica. She's been on here for a little bit. Then I'm gonna get to you, Tucker. Okay, and then I got to get to Shay because people in the comment want to know what you got to say, girl.
Hey, Christina.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. I'm listening into the conversation and I can see straight away what the problem is. And Reese, even your approach to what some of the gentlemen on the panel have been saying is slightly disingenuous, right? You said that Robert referred to you as his opponent, right? And the title of the stream is SYSBM versus SYSCBM, right? So it's like versus is opponent. It's kind of a debate style. You know what he was saying. He's not seriously looking at you as an opponent. It's in the title of the stream that you're on, but you use that to try and make him out to be aggressive or as though he's attacking you. And that's clearly not what he was doing. The other thing that struck me about what you said is that you said we need to be looking at the real enemy, which is the system that took away our families. White supremacy did not take away your family. You split up your family. You said that your husband wasn't working for you. You said that you feel like you two weren't good together. And another thing that you said in regard to the whole opponent thing is you can't control me. I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm going to do what I want to do. How can you, with that mindset, expect to work with any man? You have a you can't tell me nothing attitude. That doesn't work when it comes to a partnership. You might as well be alone. Why? Because no one can tell you nothing. So why did you ever have a relationship in the first place? How were you? Because earlier when Sol, I think he's changed his name to Brother Hondo now, but when he was speaking about the differences between Western culture and other cultures, and he said the women are cultivated to be wives, and you stuck on the 18 point to make it sound as bad as you could, even though he said 18 to 28, but they are cultivated to be wives, and the mothers aren't teaching their daughters, no one can't tell me nothing, you can't control me, you got to go out there and live your life like it's golden. The mothers aren't teaching their daughters that traditional means education, money, success. They're not teaching them that, but that's what Black women, not just, well, you've shown it, right? I don't want to say specifically what you're teaching your children, but we've seen your mentality. But Black women as a whole in society in America, where I am, that is what they're teaching their daughters, right? So that's where the difference is. So a man cannot control that. If you say, you can't control me, I'm living my life like it's golden, what can he do? What can he do?
So the firstly, let me just say this. Jessica, you have no idea who I am. Okay. So for you to say that I have this you can't control me, I don't want to listen to anybody type
You
of
said that.
attitude from one
Those were your
conversation.
words.
Uh let me speak. I work with men all day, every day. I work most of my team members in my partnership and my association as an organization I'm building. Most of my closest partners are men every day. They teach me every day. They instruct me every day. And I have absolutely no problems with following instruction where I see the benefit of those instructions. And so if I'm in a relationship, and like I said, speaking on the relationship where it did not work out, white supremacy had a lot to do with that because the partner that I was attempting to build a life with, he had a lot of social traumas that he was dealing with that did not make him a suitable partner for me. And so, in that sense, that would obviously be something that you would not be privy to based on this conversation. And so, for you to make all these assertions where you believe that you have me pinned down, you don't. And so, for whatever situation I may have expressed about being an opponent, it being disingenuous, like I said, that was a simple example for the sentiment that I was describing before, where this is a discussion. And Robert Reed was told that the same way I was before we got on this panel, that this is not a debate, that this is a discussion. He continued on with the language that we are opponents and this and that, and that's the reason why I brought it up. So for you to get on the call and want to assert yourself like you have a prior knowledge of who I am and why I'm here and what I might as well do, it doesn't make any sense to me. Because again, these things are quite a bit deeper than what you have been exposed to. But as far
I,
as me being alone, let me
I'm
respond to
gonna, I'm gonna
everything
let you
you said.
respond. I'm gonna let you get in one more second,
Yeah, let me just
Jessica, but
respond to
just
what
let her
everything that
finish.
she said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let her
uh-huh.
finish.
she said quite a few things. And so for you to say that I might as well be alone because I don't, you say I have this attitude that I can't be told anything and I'm living my life like it's golden. That is my birthright. For me to come to this planet in my own body and for me to have control over myself does not mean that I'm telling everybody around me that I cannot be taught, that I cannot be instructed, that I cannot receive edification just because I say that I am free. Just because I say that I am in control of my own being, that does not mean that I'm unteachable. That does not mean that I am going out here and just being all willy nilly. My mother taught me to educate myself. My mother taught me to be a leader. My mother taught me to have decency and order in all things. My mother taught me very traditional, what do you call it? Qualities. My mother taught me very traditional ideas as a child, but that does not mean that every relationship I get in with a man is going to work. It just means that whatever relationship I have experienced so far has not been the relationship that I want to carry on until the end of my life, which is perfectly fine. But that doesn't define who I am. It doesn't define my position in society just because I choose to be in control of my own self.
All right,
That
Your
let me let
actions.
Jessica go ahead, Jessica, response, and then we're gonna go to Rainy, and then we'll get to Shay because people requested for you. But go ahead, Jessica.
So your actions do actually dictate who you are. What you say about yourself, and we're only going off your words, do dictate the person that you are. That's who you are. That's how you choose to live your life. Now, you said that your mother taught you to be independent.
I didn't say that.
You said, yes, you just said
I
that.
didn't say she
You
taught me
said
to
your
be.
mother taught you to be independent, and that's a
I never said my mother
traditional
taught me to be.
value.
Hold on, Reese. Let her finish
Anybody
talking, Reese.
Going back to
Anybody is
the
welcome to go back in the stream and you will hear it. You just said it 10 seconds ago. I don't think you're even aware of what you're saying. So you've been taught to be independent. You said that you go to work and you work with all these different men and you listen to them. And then you finished it with a caveat, right? You said, if it benefits me, I choose to listen. You are a selfish person. You've been taught to be independent. You've been taught it's all about you and what you want. When your husband didn't serve you, because that's what you want. You want a man to serve you and what you want. When he didn't serve you, you let him go. When you spoke about what you do at work, it's if it benefits you, everything comes down to you, right? But you have to realize when you've had children, you've started a different purpose for your life. Now you're a mother. Now it's about your children. That should be the most important thing, not what makes you happy. It's about what is best for your children. And you took away the structure and the platform that is best for your children. Why? Because you didn't feel good at the time. He wasn't serving your purpose. He was holding you back from living your best life like it's golden. And that is the problem that we see with Black women today in society. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Jessica, thank you so much. Girl, hit me up on my email. You're a wonderful speaker. I would love to have you on this channel again, just to have another dialogue, whether it's with you and Reese or you and Robert. But I love you, your accent. You're a great speaker. And please, you got my email right there. Let's Talk Podcast
Yeah.
55, girl. Don't disappear on me. And everybody in the room, y'all hit that like and subscribe, share. Please, you guys. And if you're being blessed by what you're hearing, if you're enjoying the show, please, if you want to donate to Let's Talk Podcast. That's the Cash App. Let's Talk Podcast 55. We'll appreciate all donations. With
I
that
was
being
going to
said,
say
we're going to
thank
get.
you for having me up. I'm going to drop down so you've got space on the panel, but thank you for having me, and I'm going to be in the chat.
Thank you.
Right, thank
All
you.
right,
Bye.
all right, all right. Let's bring in Rainy. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Another sister.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Good, 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 good. Thank you for being
I
here.
just had a few things to say to Miss Reese, or a statement slash question. I did realize that you said early, a little bit earlier on, that you don't feel like children or young women at 18, 19, 20 years old should be being raised to be wives, or you don't feel like they are being raised to be wives, at least over here in the States. But I live in Texas. The way my husband and I raise our children, they're being raised to be wives, to be husbands. Our daughters are learning to cook, to clean, to be submissive to their husbands, to listen, to be guided, to be moldable. Our sons are taught to lead, to protect, to provide, to. So I'm not understanding why for you feel like as Black American women and men, we're not teaching our children the values that quite a few of us are. Because it's not just my family. Any family that I know that practices under the same covering as we practice under are teaching their daughters to be wives, are teaching their sons to be husbands, are teaching all of our children to be leaders.
Okay, so what? Hold on, Reese. So the question you're asking is, say the question again, so I
So
make
my
sure it's
question
clear
to
for
you
the
would
answer.
be, what part of raising your children, or what are you seeing from the Black American people that you're interacting with, that would lead you to think that we as a whole are not raising our daughters to be wives? Because quite a few of us here are.
All right, Reese, the floor is yours to respond to her
I'm not
question.
sure what y'all might have to go back and replay this tape or the recording, because I never said that we're not doing that. I said that who expects an 18-year-old to be traditional? You're still a child. And what I'm saying is that in the sense of marriage, we're talking about marriage. A
Miss Reese,
18-year-old child is not expected in my world to be traditionally trained enough for them to be a great partner in a marriage. That doesn't make any sense to me. I
Miss
am
Reese, an
teaching my
18-year-old
child.
is not a
Hold on, let her
child.
Okay,
finish.
hold on.
Let her finish. Let her finish
So,
responding.
like I said, I'm talking about me. Okay, I have an 18-year-old niece. She's a child in my eyes. That girl is not ready to be somebody's wife at 18 years old. It's just not my. I don't see any teenager. You anything teen. You're not ready to be somebody's traditional spouse. That's not something that I would encourage any parent to teach their 18-year-old or their up and coming teenagers, that you need to be ready for a successful marriage. Yes, you need to be trained. And yes, you do need to have basic skills of being an adult first. Yes. But am I saying that we're not teaching our children these skills? No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. In my own experience, I was raised I was working at 14 years old and driving a car at 14 years old. When my husband came home from work on a regular basis, I refused to take my family through a drive-through. I cook. I make sure that my family has home cooked food on the stove every day. Only time I would ever, let them go out and eat food is if he would say that he wanted to go out and give me a break from being in the kitchen. Like I said, I don't walk around here with weaves all down my back. My hair is naturally long. I don't walk around here with long fingernails. And I'm a traditional woman in every word, in every sense of the word. But my mentality does not allow me to say that if I have a partner or a man or whomever, like this young lady Jessica's mentioned, that I need to consider my son's life in before I'm considering the vision that I'm bringing to fruition. If me and this man have agreed that our relationship is not going anywhere, what good is it doing for my child? The traditional sense of being married and having a successful relationship requires skills. It requires adaptability. It requires you to have this training. Everybody doesn't have it. It's a lot of men who don't have it and a lot of women who don't have it. So in our community where we're all trying to match up with somebody who has these skills, someone who has the training, it's difficult to do. It is very difficult to do. And everybody here, I think, would agree it's hard to find a suitable partner in the Black community. So that's not to say that none of us have been trained traditionally. I don't know a Black person that don't know how to scrub a tub. I don't know a Black person that don't know how to, go and take care of the elderly in their family, or who won't check on you when you're sick. These are the values that come up when I'm talking about traditional people who still go to church and who still read and still have entrepreneurial type of mindset. This is what I consider to be traditional. And I believe that if you ask everybody on this panel what traditional is to them, each answer will be different. Each answer will be different. So how I'm raising my child and how you're raising yours to be traditional is completely up to your objective opinion about what that means. And
Okay,
about
Reese,
what it looks like.
let me let her respond real quick, and then I got to get to Shay because people in the comment want to hear from her. So, Rainey, go ahead, make a quick response to that, and then we're going to get to Shay.
Yes, ma'am. Being traditional, yeah, it's great that you cook, it's great that you clean, but being traditional is more of a mindset than anything. If you can't be submissive to, especially to your husband or to your head, to your leader, you are not traditional. I heard you say that the two are interchangeable, traditional women and modern women. They are not interchangeable.
Never said it was interchangeable.
Because, yes, you did. You said we can have qualities of both. You cannot. As a traditional woman, you cannot have modern qualities. Because for me, as a traditional woman, I can't put on booty shorts and go out to dinner with the girls and shake my booty and then go home to my husband. Because for one, he's not letting me out the door in itty bitty shorts because he cares about me and he cares about how I represent his household. So I'm not going out my door half naked, even if it's just because it's the weekend and it's girls' night. I'm finna turn up. No, because that's not how I represent myself or my husband in public. Because traditionally, that would not be how our ancestors represent themselves or their husbands in public, especially in public. So I love that you're self-built. I love that you are accomplished. I love that you have your career set. But just because you are successful in your career, that does not make you a traditional woman. Just because you know how to cook and clean, that does not mean you have traditional values. And I understand that in your mind it did, and that's okay. Like you said, everybody is taught things differently. But the way that our men look at it, especially Black men, those are not traditional values because you're going out here and you're half naked dancing around. Even if it was just because it was girls' night. Because I believe you said earlier, me and my girls, we can go out and twerk and the lesbian songs all night, but the next day we gonna be back at work on Monday. I didn't say naked, I said half naked. And you know how these clothes be looking at the club. Don't act like you don't know. Because you know just like I know, just like the rest of these grown people know.
I don't go nowhere half
But
naked.
also, I'm gonna say one more thing and then I'm gonna be done. Also, you made a statement earlier about how Brother Reed kept referring to you as a quote unquote opponent, and you didn't feel like this was an opponent situation because you guys were both told beforehand that this was a conversation and not a debate. Brother Reed does debates. A lot of us that are here that watch him regularly have seen him do debates. And we know that our tongues are trained. So you're going to go to what you normally go to as far as speech goes. Just like me, I work with kids all day long, every day. So it is not uncommon for me to come home and be like, hey, do you need more food? Do you need to go potty? Why? Because I'm used to asking people, do they need to go potty all day long? Because I work with kids all day long. If I see him moving around,
I gotta go potty. You better ask me if I gotta go potty.
I do. Or if I'm getting ready to go out the door, hey, everybody go potty. We finna leave. Because I work with kids all day. It's just the way I see. Exactly. And I know it in my head. I know it as soon as it come out my mouth. But them are just my words, because that's what I do all day. So we know that the brother debates. We know that he debates. We've seen him debate. So we know that it's just natural for him to use words like opponent, because that's what he's used to in these situations.
But let me get to Sister Shay, because the comments was asking about you, girl. They say you need to bring her up. So go ahead. The floor is yours. Okay, then we're gonna get to Elijah, and then we're gonna end up doing a recap, and then we go close it out. And we'll do it like that. So go ahead, Sister Shay. You gotta unmute your mic. Let me see if it'll let me do it. It won't let me do it. You gotta oh, there you go. The floor is yours. We still don't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you. Come on, people been asking for you, girl. You got to get that. Let me pull you down and bring you back up. Let's see if that helps. All right, say something. Now, unmute your mic one more time.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Unmute your mic.
No.
See if that works. Yeah, it won't let me unmute you. Try to say something now. Nah, we can't hear you. Oh, man. And we really wanted to hear from you. Oh. Okay, let's go to Elijah. Maybe what you could do is, this is what you could do, sister. Leave and come back. Sometimes that helps, because sometimes my volume get messed up too. So leave all the way out the chat, then come right back in, and we might be able to hear from you. So Elijah, it's all yours. You've been waiting for a long time. So God, if you got a question, if you got a comment, let us hear it.
Mine's is more of a comment. First of all, how you doing, Christina, and to all the people on here, Zadok, brother Vondo, Hondo, I like everything you said. Reese, Robert Reed, good, and Miss Reese, nice to meet you and everything.
Nice to meet you.
I've been listening to y'all and everything like that, and I know I had some comments on the chat for a while there, just listening. But first of all, ma'am, I've been listening to you, and everything you said. It's just sad that I never heard anything about a father, and to that, I'm very sad to hear that. Whatever the cause may be, whatever happened, that's very sad and everything. But I don't think you're traditional. I think you're a straight feminist. Everything you said is just you're straight feminist and everything, and that's sad. And I think that's what's killed most. I mean, not with all, just around the world, here in America or here in first world countries, because you can't be a feminist in third world countries and stuff like that, or like in India and stuff. Not saying there won't be a few, but for the most part, uh, outside of America and like Europe and places, people are traditional. I've been around the world myself because I've been in the military. My dad was in the Air Force, so I understand that. But another thing that I see is that what's killed a lot and what's come down to this world, not just with you, but a lot is feminism's killed it, birth control's killed it, because it's too many things. Yeah, men have played a part too. Don't get me wrong, men have played their part and have done done the wrong, but there has to be accountability also with the women, because I swear feminism 101 to me is they want all the perks of a man, all the they want all they want all the benefits of a man, perks of a woman, and accountability of a child. To me, that's feminism 101 and stuff. But to be honest, this world is going the way of the book of Judges. Like everybody's doing what's right in their own eyes, and that's totally wrong. uh, we got to get back to Jesus. I mean, we all do. I know some here may do it, that have Jesus in their hearts and their souls and everything like that. But we need to pray for others. I'm sure going to pray for you, ma'am, and with myself, because I hope you actually get what you need, not get what you want, but I hope that you get what you need. And I mean that from the heart, though. But you are not traditional. You are straight feminist, and that's all I got to say.
So thank you, Elijah, for your comments. I'll let you respond shortly, Reese, but I want everybody to see Jessica, because a lot of people were talking about everything she was saying. She has a channel. So you guys, if you're interested in more of what she was talking about, her position and what she was saying, she says the name of her channel is the same as her name. So Jessica X. So if you guys are interested in anything that she's saying, if you guys enjoyed what she had to bring to the platform, make sure you guys go out, find her, look her channel up, and definitely show this sister some support and some love, because that's what we do over here. With that being said, I want to get to Soul and Zadok, but I want to get to Zadok real quick. And Soul, you guys try to keep it short. And then I'm gonna let Rain say one more thing. Try to keep it short, and then we're gonna try to close it out from there. But Zadok, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hey, this was you know what, this was necessary, because at the same time, all males don't see it the same way, let alone females. That's obvious, right? There were two sisters who came on and they saw it different from Reese, and I see this conversation different from brother Hondo and Robert Reed. So I've now, you know that God willing, in about an hour my channel goes live. I done switched the topic tonight. So any of y'all who actually interested, this discussion gonna continue on the platform that my sister's going her platform. My platform is larger. So we gonna have a discussion. And if any of y'all brothers or sisters involved in this one want to come over there and holler, probably be an audience of a few hundred people tapping in. Come talk, because at the end of the day, I'm telling y'all, this sister just got gaslighted for the last damn half hour. The last thing she said to brother Rob was this: hey, well, while we're talking about how much black women might fail at things, why aren't we talking about all the successful black marriages? Do y'all know what that means? That means that she's also saying there's another part of our society that is in accountability mode and that is raising children. And y'all talking to a man who's been with one woman for a quarter of a century, buying homes, building businesses, things of that nature. And I run with a circle of men who have all produced children and are all in marriages. I'm probably out of my main circle of 30. It's only about 6 of them who ain't got wives. And the brothers who ain't got wives look to the brothers who got wives. Me, 24 years married. My brother Judah, 26 years married. My brother Tim, 16 years married. So what I'm saying, my brother Elijah, 22 years married. So what and our wives are in those marriages. We're not potatoes asexually reproducing. So what I want to talk about is this. Let's talk about it if y'all want to talk about it, because sis just got gaslighted. And I can actually tell y'all this. When this woman sit up here and say, hey, I actually am ready to be with a man who actually takes my value and my thoughts and my ambition seriously, y'all know what that is? That's a man who already see her value. She can't make him accept her value. When he see her and get to know her, he'll decide, damn, she got what I'm looking for. And she'll say he got what I'm looking for. For those brothers who just go and find women who just do what they say, more than likely, you're probably teaching a woman something that she may not have. Because some men not looking for a woman who gonna cook. Some men looking for a woman who actually gonna help probably build generational wealth. While some men are just looking to produce children. And some men have paramours and all that for that. So all I'm gonna say is this, man. Let's have a discussion, because this ain't a one-way thing. And I ain't talking out of sympathy. I'm talking from empathy, because I'm experienced. And I'm gonna say this last thing. Salute to the Ock Kevin Samuels, who actually got a lot of this stuff talked about in the last 5 years. And it's unfortunate that a gentleman who gave so much advice on value unfortunately perished in a situation where he was with a woman he met the night before. He can't tell me what it looks like to be dedicated and what it looks like to be loyal to a woman and to raise a family. But I can learn something from him. But everything we need can't just come from that lens. And I'm ready for the smoke. So y'all go ahead and come over to my channel.
All right. Shay, can we hear you? Can we hear you, Shay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, Shay. The floor is yours.
I did it. This old lady did it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I love the topic. I'm going to say briefly, I was one of those women that had everything. 6 figures, houses, cars, everything. I was so independent that I told my husband we're going to get married. That's how bad I was. I told him if he didn't want to do it, I was going to do it myself, and I did it myself. But sadly, I ran him to a young lady on public assistance with 1,000 kids. So I was like, I have everything. You know, look at me with everything. Money, cars, career. my mouth ran him to the roof. And I said, I would never do that to a black man again. Never. If he didn't want to do it, I'm going to do it anyway. Because my. And I said, never again. Never again. Today, sadly, I see so many of my young sisters that will be alone for the rest of their lives. They're not going to have nobody. They're not going to have anybody because they refuse to change. Got to change up here. Got to change in your heart. You got to change the scripture. And if you don't, you will be alone for the rest of your life. Reese, you are a beautiful young lady. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Get it, but tone it down. We have to let them lead, even though we lead them. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Let them lead.
And may I?
Sure.
Okay. So one of the things that I want to reiterate, because I believe I may have spoken briefly about it before, is that I do see myself as a woman who needs a partner to continue to build the lifestyle that I have envisioned for my life and the things that I just want to accomplish. And so in my situation, I actually did not run my husband off. My husband today is still trying to, fix certain things that need to be fixed in order for our relationship to thrive.
I didn't say that to say that was you.
Right. No,
that's what I did.
I understand.
That's what I did. That's what I see a lot of young women doing.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
The thing is, I had to change. Once he was gone, left me with my homes and everything to a girl in the projects. Now, I'm not downing nobody in the projects or on public assistance. Don't get me wrong, because I was there, food stamps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like lost. I was like, you're gonna leave me for somebody that don't even speak well? You know, it really got to me. I had a nervous breakdown, and I had to go to therapy to see what I did. And once I started looking at me and my faults, then I started changing. Plus, I got into the Word of God. That helped me change tremendously. I got into the Word of God and I understood my role. I didn't have that role. I saw my mother lead, my father. I was in a church where the pastor was a female, which was out of order. And I ended up working in the prison system as an officer over thousands of men. And I can literally say that I was Jezebel in the works. I see a lot of young women wanting to do their thing, but they're going to get old like me and say, wow, what happened? What happened? Now I attract teenagers. I was like, no, I'm not taking care of no kid. You're not going to live off my wealth. So I'd rather be alone with the Most High. And that's the way it's going to be until that's it. You know, but I'm not getting on you. Don't think nobody is getting on you. But to be a good listener, you have to be a good listener. We do. We don't listen to each other. We think we're judging. Oh, you're judging me. You're pointing. No. Everybody on this panel loves you. And I tell you, I saw myself in you. I said, that's a young me. Oh. And then I said, okay, I have to change. And I did. And I just love building my generational wealth for my grandchildren. And I'm teaching my granddaughters. No, you're not supposed to find him. He's supposed to find you.
Correct.
I agree. I fully agree. I just wanted to finish my sentiment because, like I said, in my situation personally, because I'm listening to how you're describing your personal situation and sort of saying that you see yourself in me.
I did.
But the thing that I am trying to express here is that I do not have an independent woman approach to relationships. I typically have a partnership approach to relationships. And
you
so
say me and I, what I want, me, I, that's independent. That's what you want. Instead of
I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay, when I hear people say me, I want, yes, what does your mate want? What does your mate want? And if he's in line with you, he's gonna make sure you get that. If he loves you and wants you to be the best, he's gonna make sure he's gonna push you to that. But for me, I told mine something so simple as changing a light bulb. He took too long for me, and I degraded him. And then I said I had to wonder what in me made him, me talk to this man like that. I saw my mother do it. I saw my pastor, the female pastor, which I did repent. Father, forgive me. I saw her talk down to the men in the church. And then I was talking over the male prisoners like they were beneath me. So sadly, I know some women will take this and heed the knowledge, wisdom from this old lady. And then some are going to say, I. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. I
Yes,
don't
I'm
go by.
listening.
I
I
don't
just
go
want to
by.
finish what I'm trying to say because I hear you, and all I'm
Yeah,
trying
but
to
you're
do.
going to get back to me and I. Me and I. Me, what
Well,
I.
I gotta be able to finish.
Okay.
All right, so
You're
let her,
saying that that's what
Chase,
I'm
let her
gonna
finish.
do,
Go ahead, Reese. The floor is yours.
it like I said, in the situation for me, because I can only speak for myself. I've never approached a relationship without bringing something to offer to that partnership as a partner. So for me, I can't identify with being the instructor or the person who is in charge of a relationship, because I typically will open the floor, and for at the very basic level, what did not work out with my spouse and I was the simple fact that anytime I opened the floor and I would look for some consideration, mutual consideration, my spouse he didn't know himself well enough to present himself to be accounted for in the relationship. He didn't necessarily have any guidance or direction or anything to input. And the reason why I said we still maintain our friendship and I don't speak down about him or blame him for anything like that is because I realize in his life journey he has not done enough self exploration to get to that point. I could not blame him for it. I did not blame him for it. It just simply wasn't something that I could maintain a relationship. We were not equally yoked. And so, again, this independence is not something that I've operated from. I have not operated, me personally, from a position of being independent or like I have to, lead and guide and instruct. Actually, what I did was I gave an opportunity, and and just for me to give you a very clear example of how this looked in real life, if something were happening, we had a challenge that we had to face as a couple, as a partnership, I would quiet myself. I would, wait to see where my husband is going to take us. Where is he going to step in? Where is he going to speak? Where is he going to take action? And most of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, that brother did not do those things. It was left up to me. And this is the reason why I say we were unequally yoked, because I didn't know. Okay, if it, let's just say, for example, and you could probably, I'm just going to throw an example out there. Let's just say we can't pay our rent and we're about to get thrown out of our house. And this didn't actually happen to us, but it's just the hypothetical example. And then I say, this is a dire situation, husband. I need you to figure this out. You're a leader. You're the guy that's supposed to be providing. I need to submit. I need to not say anything, do anything. I'm gonna let you take care of it. And then he stays still and doesn't do anything, doesn't take any action, doesn't do anything. Now, if I'm going to say, oh, well, I need to be a submissive woman now, I'm not going to take no action either, because this is your job now. You're supposed to be doing this. And now, so now I put myself and my child in a position where we have to be led by somebody who may not be equipped to do that, even though he's allowed himself to be in this role of a leader. So I can't identify with the person who is unwilling to submit and let a man to do whatever leading and providing he needs to do. What I can say is, from my perspective, I have not come across, I have not attracted, I have not met a man or been found by a man who is yet equipped to take my life or my child or our relationship. So it's not just me, myself, and I, our situation, like where I was in my relationship, to from point A to point B. where we have come together, sat down. This is a real life example. I would sit with my husband and ask him, can we do a budget? Because we need to, have some financial stability. We need to take vacations. We need to save for retirement. We need to do this, that, and the third. My husband's supposed to be my leader now. He tells me we not broke. So I'm not sitting down doing no budget with you. And I'm like, what? So what am I supposed to do? I can't allow that to just be the case just because this man doesn't want to lead in that way. So I didn't blame all Black men for being this is your problem. All y'all don't want to be responsible. None of y'all want to be leaders. None of y'all want to be providers. No, I just realized this man right here is not the guy that I can submit to. I cannot submit to him because
All
look
right.
at what he's trying to do and look at what he's trying to do. It doesn't align.
All right. So this is what I want to do, right? I didn't want to end it with either speaker. I wanted to end it with the people, what the people got to say. So I'm gonna let Soul and I'm gonna let Rain go, and even let Shay come back up. But I want to let Robert Reed get in here because he has been quiet for a long time. So Robert Reed, I need you to come on in here, and I need you to lay it all bare. Share all your information. Then Reese, I'm gonna let you share your information, and I'm gonna let the people finish up. I'm gonna give y'all the people. Y'all got like 2 minutes. I'm gonna mute y'all. I'm letting y'all know now. But Reed, I'm gonna give you the time you need to address everything that has been going on so far.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna put on just so let's see here. Should be okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I just wanted to address a couple things. I can't address everything that I want. One of the things, okay, I'll address real quick. One of the things Doc did, he said I was trying to avoid the question that he asked about the scriptures. I vaguely remember what this was, and then I went to go look for it. I could that scripture, that great. You don't have to right now, but if you can give me that scripture, I'll go back to it so that I can pull context of it. Two, I did respond to it, and my response to it was that you just removing the blame. You're moving the blame from the women and children and stuff like that. And I followed up and answered it with, in Proverbs, the foolish woman tears down her house with her bare hands. And then I cited the divorce statistics. Okay, that's what they're doing. They're tearing down their house with their own bare hands. So you want to remove accountability. Now, addressing the whole opponent debate and all that. It is true. I do debate, but I'm not quote unquote debating her. It's just that there's two positions in this discussion. There's SYSBM and SYCBM. I am on one side of this discussion, and she is on the other side of the discussion. She is an opponent. We have two opposing views, which is why we are opponents. So I'm not attacking her. I'm attacking the position. I'm not doing any ad hominem arguments whatsoever on that. Now, dealing with some of the things she said, if you notice, if anybody play this back, there's at no point was she accountable for anything. At no point. It's either somebody else's fault. She blamed the breakup with white supremacy or something like that, or we shouldn't be blaming anybody. We shouldn't be, saying this and saying that and all that. It's just a blame game. We're not getting anywhere. That's just another tactic of not wanting to be held accountable for anything. Now, anyone who's been listening, they know what traditional and modern is. And she didn't say anything that was traditional except the one time when she said, oh, no, she'll cook. And, unless her husband say we'll go somewhere else. But nothing else she said was traditional. Nothing else. Nothing else. Just go back and listen, okay? And that's the thing. Part of the program, and again, their own definitions. Oh, this is my definition of traditional, and we all got different definitions of traditional and all this other stuff, right? It's just, look. I'll go ahead and I'll point out a couple of the differences. Some of the differences would be a traditional woman wants a husband. A modern woman, by her own words, want partners and benefactors and stuff like that. Okay. Traditional woman wants a family. Okay. A modern woman wants children and child support. I am not talking about Reese. I'm not talking about Reese. Modern woman wants children and child support. Oh, Brother Reed, you can't say that. What does the numbers say? What do we see out there? Okay. In the Black family, we see single mothers and some get child support. That's what we see. Okay. if we pay attention, you know, in relationships, the traditional woman wants marriage. The modern woman wants weddings. I mean, you have Tia Mowry and what? She graduated for her divorce. That sort of thing. So I'm tired of us pretending like we don't see these things. And I don't like the fact that one, she, Reese, I won't say opponent, Reese said, okay, the one thing that I right there, if somebody a Kevin Samuels or whatever, their mindset, that tells me, well, first of all, conception. I said in the beginning, we can't say, oh.
You're going in and out, Reed. You're going in and out.
Still hear me?
Reed, yeah, you're breaking up. Speak now.
Okay. How about
you're
now?
Good now.
We're good?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay. So what he unlocked, and then again, they want to go to ad hominem. Oh yeah, but he was with a woman that or whatever. Okay, so it's like someone has to be walking perfect before anyone can tell anyone anything else. That is just ridiculous. That means we can't tell our children anything because we messed up and we made some bad decisions and stuff. That means we can't tell them anything because we're not perfect. So stop it. Okay, so one, we want to discount that. Then they want to discount, you know, the data. And so I'm like, this is ridiculous. So all we doing is just sitting back and we're just going to argue our own personal experience. Well, from my experience in my circle, I didn't do that. This discussion. I didn't do that because I can't argue your personal experience. I wasn't there and I don't know. You can't argue my personal experience. I can say anything. So that's why I go to generalities, because everybody want to villainize, demonize, you know, general statements. So let's just throw out the statistics class altogether. Okay, and then throw out, and I think it's a weak and beggarly argument to be like, well, if I didn't take the poll, then it doesn't count. Sorry, I'm going at, you know, Zadok and all that other stuff. It's just that I hadn't spoken in a long time, so I'm trying to address everything that we've been through.
Of course,
so,
yeah, and we're giving you the time, so don't feel like you're being rushed because you have been quiet for a while. Everybody know that, so go ahead, do your thing.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate that. So that is one of traditionals, the differences between traditional women and modern women. There are a lot more differences, and everyone can hear like everything she said. Nothing she said was traditional, and it went back to success and money and education and my circles and six-figure incomes and all this other stuff. That has nothing to do with traditional. Then I also know she leaned on Brother Hondo. When he said 18 to 28, nobody touched 28, nobody touched 27, nobody touched 26, 25, none, they all stayed on 18. That's just young, and that just seems more shaming. I hope everyone has been catching this the entire time. A bunch of sign language, a bunch of signal language, a bunch of that. Well, I don't know. Somebody's 18, this and that, and then, like you said, from his experience, I can say from my experience, and I haven't been doing a whole lot of that. But I'll take it at this point. I've been out of the country, and yeah, they are raised a certain way. They are raised to be traditional. Guess what? They didn't hear. In our Black community, you hear, oh, men ain't this, men ain't sugar, honey, iced tea. Don't depend on the man. Go get your education. Go and, you know, get your job or whatever, you know, and make this money. Do for yourself. That's the narrative that the Black community has gotten. That's what they've been hearing, our daughters. That's what they've been hearing. And when I said, and you can't say that about men, you can't say, oh, well, they're not held accountable. We were held accountable for the past 60 years. What is mass incarceration? Is that more Black women or is that Black men? You mean to tell me a people who is less than 15% of the population make up 70% of the prison system, sit up there doing 70% of the crimes? So Black men have always been held accountable. We have to wear the L of being deadbeat dads. We have to wear that L. We're nobody. What about on television shows? How many positive Black fathers that is depicted in television, in movies and television shows? In the 70s, I'll give you James Evans Jr. Or in the 80s, I'll give you Bill Cosby. Okay? In the 90s, I'll give you Uncle Phil. What else you got? So we've been taking L's, and I'm just getting tired of it. That's all we try to do is just blur the lines. Well, you know, anytime we try to hold our own women accountable, it's going to be, yeah, but the men. Yeah, but, and then the blurring the lines, the trying to just slide the accountability out of the way, period. Trying to redefine everything, redefine what traditional is, redefine what leadership is, redefine what accountability is, redefining every doggone thing. That's why we can't get anywhere. And that's why I say there is no save the black community as in staying here, because everyone can find some anecdotal. I'm married. I have traditional, okay, and it's American. I have traditional women in America. I have that in America, okay. I have that, but just like Brother Hondo said, it is few and far between. It's very, very rare. So again, why, if you're going to go fishing in this pond and everything you catch, you need to throw back because it doesn't fit your criteria? Their only advice that, again, like I'm assuming Brother Zadok and I'm assuming Reese is just go to the other side of the pond or whatever. And you say, oh, well, don't deal with somebody who don't match up and fit your criteria. That's exactly what people are doing. That's exactly what the men are doing. Leaving, saying, you know what? Let me go somewhere else. I'm gone. Let me go somewhere else. And then in our last discussion on that last show, it was, well, I just don't understand, why would you leave and you caused the trauma? Talking about don't blame, but yet blame every time. She blamed white supremacy on the breakup relationship. She blamed men going off to war. The reason why they don't have that foundation. The foundation can be laid. Guess what you have to do? Kind of like what Sister Jessica said, you got to put yourself second when it comes to once you make a family. Once you get married, once you have children, it's not about your happiness. It's not about your program anymore. It is about the betterment. It's about the betterment of the family, because they think the traditional women, I'm not saying Reese, I'm not putting words in her mouth, okay? Now I'm gonna speak in general. I'm not putting words in her mouth. They say, a lot of modern women, they say that traditional women are, are weak, or a man can't handle a strong, independent. Well, that depends, since we're messing with definitions, that depends on what you mean by strong. You see, the modern woman who thinks that, oh, her career and her job and her income and all that makes her strong. No, it makes you independent. And independent means you don't need a man. You don't need a husband. So this is a moot point. This is a moot point. They're looking for partners and benefactors. A traditional man isn't looking for a partner at all. He's looking for a wife. That's it. He's going to be a traditional husband. He's looking for a traditional wife so they can have their kids or children in a traditional setting. That's what he's looking for. But redefining that whole strong independent women, strong independent modern women, they think that, oh, I got my education, I got my degrees, and they ignored the fact that divorces are initiated 90% of the time. Instead of 80, it's 90% of the time when they have a high degree. And then you can hear the hypergamy coming out of her mouth. Well, if I'm on this level, then he needs to be at my level or above my. That's the quintessential definition of hypergamy. So the higher you go up the socioeconomic ladder as a woman, then the smaller your pool are, your mates. Why? Because you want somebody at your level or higher. We already heard all those statistics. But let's go back to strong. Strong. You know what? Traditional men think is strong? Women who put their family first. That is strong. Women who puts duty first over happiness, over, well, I feel some type of way, or he's not doing what I want him to do, or he's not getting on my program. But the woman who can put that aside and be like, no, it's about my family. It's about my sons and my daughters having a nuclear family. It's about me getting under my husband's program. It's about me trusting him to lead us in the right direction. Because if you don't trust him, why did you marry him in the first place? And so what men are doing is they're going somewhere where they can get that. They don't have to pre-qualify and have this criteria that's in modern women's mind. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's all backwards. It's like, no, well, we're not going to change anything. And speaking of that, and I'll close and I'll land the plane with this. Speaking of that, she said, I don't want to place blame. And then she said that, put it on the man. And then she said, okay, well, my ex, he's gonna work on some things. Nothing she worked on, nothing she had to work on. So I'm pointing out to men now, the traditional men in the audience. I hope you guys understand something. And I'm not picking on her. I'm talking about modern women in general. I'm not talking about Reese. You cannot, if you're a traditional man, you cannot work with a modern woman. She will tear down the house with her bare hands. And I'm sorry we couldn't get back to question and Q&A. Just me and Reese back and forth. I'm sorry we ran out of time, because I was going to ask her those things. What leverage do you have for a man to stay? What incentive does he have to stay? What if he has an over 50% of chance of getting a divorce, and and chances are it's going to be her doing it, being in this American system or whatever. What incentive does a man have to get married to any woman in America? Or if you want to say a sister in particular, what incentive? Why? Why? She has all the power. She has all the leverage. Period. So why would he want to do that? So I say to men, let me close with this, guys, because I know I probably won't have an opportunity to say anything else. So let me say this. If you are a traditional man, particularly a man of Yah, if you're a traditional man, a man of Yah, do not mate with a modern woman. Do not date. Do not procreate. Do not mate, date, or procreate with a modern woman. Your house will be torn down. Period. It's not going to work. You don't need to talk. I mean, it won't take you long to talk to some brothers who've already went through that, who's already been wrecked through that system. You get your passport, you go somewhere else, find a traditional woman so you can have the kind of life that you want, that you're going to build. And you don't have to be a six-figure earner like a lot of modern women require. You don't have to do that to deserve a happy life or to deserve to just get some respect as a man. Because that's what's happening right now. It's the masculinity is being demonized. You're being emasculated. And then then a man who's not masculine, he's been feminine, he's been celebrated or whatever, particularly in the Black community. So I don't understand. What is there to stay for? And again, I can ask questions. I have it all written down, but I'm not going to ask because I know we don't have time. But what is there to stay for? So gentlemen, if you want to save the Black community, first save yourself. You contain the Black community in your DNA. What leverage do they have? And so any modern woman who want to get upset about that or whatever, and they say, "Oh, I'm strong, I'm independent, I don't need a man." By the way, foreign women don't live by that programming. I'm strong, I don't want no man, I don't need no man, I can do it all by myself and all that. Foreign women, they don't have that programming. So you don't have that. So any modern women, again, not talking to Reese, any modern women that has a problem with that, yeah, you're right. You're strong, you're independent, and just by that definition alone, you don't need a man because it takes cooperation and assimilation. You don't need a man. And on that token, you say hi to Jon Snow at the watch on your way to the wall. And that's it. And I rest.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I had my mic muted. Rob, before I let you speak, Reese, I'm gonna let you give your closing statement. Then I'm gonna let the people end it, and then we'll close it at that. But first, Robert Reed, when you give your information out to the people, if they enjoy what they heard today, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. You can find me on YouTube, both YouTube and TikTok. I'm a little bit more active on TikTok because it's quicker and I get really busy. But by High Value Hebrew, right? So you can go High Value Hebrew, and you can hear more stuff like this, commentary on topics such as this right here. Now, on the more biblical side, if you say, look, I want to hear some biblical doctrine, and just learn from that, you can just go to Fountain of Israel on YouTube, Fountain of Israel. And that's when I just go into biblical doctrine. I don't talk about this kind of stuff at all. I reserve this topic for High Value Hebrew. So I'll leave it right there. I was about to go into something else, but I will leave it right there. Just so on TikTok, YouTube, High Value Hebrew. For biblical doctrine or biblical teachings, go to Fountain of Israel. And thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you. Now, Reese, I wanted you to respond, give any closing statements you have, and share with the people how they can reach you. And then I'm gonna let the audience close the show out.
Sure. I think that the difference between myself and this audience is that it appears to me that many people have perspectives and biases that are rooted in being highly religious and judgmental, because I have people name calling and asserting themselves as if they know me without having any clue. This man just said, I am independent and strong and I don't need a man, after I just said myself out my own mouth that I clearly need my partner, and I clearly have a space in my life for a partner who is going to grow with me. So that's where I stand in my life. But also, this idea that our community should sit here and point fingers and, like I said, hold each other accountable, but not ourselves. It, to me, screams of the same problem. If you are wanting to hold other people accountable, like you're putting this on me, saying that I didn't talk about anything that I worked on. And like I said in the comments, I worked on the entire marriage. I worked on the entire relationship. I worked on myself. I tried to hold him accountable and realized that that is not that's doesn't make any sense to hold another person accountable. I cannot hold him accountable for things that he's not holding himself accountable for. And so I, in my wisdom, decided not to do that because it was actually doing more damage than it was doing any good. I could not hold him accountable and he could not hold me accountable. The only thing we could do was take care of ourselves. And so for any adult person to disagree with that, it, like I said, it kind of shows me where we are in our thinking and in our mental processes as far as being productive as a community. Because any person who is more willing to point fingers of blame going here and there, and let's be clear, I've never said that blame shouldn't be placed somewhere. I said we don't need to blame each other. Obviously, something is to blame for the condition of our communities. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and blame a Black man or a Black woman for something that was rooted from an entirely different source of toxicity. So for me, if that makes me a feminist, if that makes me strong and independent, if that makes me non-submissive, whatever it makes me, so be it, because that's my position and that's where I stand firmly, is that we have a common enemy that we need to direct all this accountability towards. It should not be a blame game going back and forth between both parties who have both been under the same conditions, coming from oppression and poverty and lack of education or miseducation that has affected our community, both men, women, and children. So, regardless of how our personal relationships have been panning out, what is obviously clear is that our people have been afflicted by something that is completely coming from outside of our communities. And that is where we need to start focusing our attention. Is that regardless of what, like I said, for example, I will never use the child support system. As a Black woman who made a child with a Black man, I will never use the child support system. Why? Because that would be like letting my enemy win. If your design is to tear me and this man apart, I'm not going to help you to do that. I'm going to uplift him. I'm going to support him. I'm going to let him know it's okay that our relationship didn't work out. I'm not blaming you. What I'm going to say is that I hope that you grow. I hope that you choose to take the path of self-discovery, and that you maybe you'll meet me down the road sometime. I don't know, but for right now, where we're going in our life is not working. It's not, I can't submit to a man that doesn't have a plan. I can't submit to a man that doesn't have an opinion or input. I can't submit to a man that hasn't learned self-responsibility and self-accountability. I can't. So even if I did try and I couldn't. So a lot of women are running into these predicaments where we are attempting to live our lives in a way that we see wisdom and the way that we see tradition. And I want to make it clear that tradition is based on your own definition. Robert Reed wants to really call out what is traditional, what is modern, and it would behoove every person on the panel to recognize that what is modern versus traditional to you does not mean that that's how I see it. And for you to assert yourself on any person, to want them to take on your idea of modern versus traditional, it's immature, and it just lacks a level of I'll say perception, because there is no one standard definition that all people must adopt in order for modern and traditional to make sense to you. That's not how that works. So if I am modern in some ways and traditional in others, that is my prerogative. That is how I'm living my life. And that's not something that anybody is going to be able to hold me accountable for. If I was raised a certain way, but I'm living a certain way, all these things are up to me. These are all my decisions and how I'm just, my life is going. I mean, everybody's life is just going how it's going. There is no cookie cutter, oh, well, you're not traditional because you don't do this. Who are you to tell me what is traditional just because you say that that's what it is? Honestly, who cares what you think it is? What matters is what I think it is and how I am living according to that in the standards that I've set for my life. If I am going to be impacted, then it's going to impact me based on what I have decided is going on in my life. Now, if I meet a man and he tells me as my partner that this is what he thinks is traditional and modern, then yes, I will consider that and I will take that to heart. I will take that in full consideration if my man come to me and tell me what he thinks is traditional or that he feels like I'm being a feminist or whatever you guys, whatever else. But this type of thing is something that I think we should realize is based on our personal life, our personal goals, the personal kind of standards that we've set for ourselves. It doesn't have much to do with anything or anyone else. So I'll just say that.
Now,
And
Reese, yeah, and then I want you to because we're kind of getting to 9 o'clock. I don't want to cut you off because you're saying some good stuff, but I want to get the panel to get in a few minutes because I know Zadok is going live very soon.
Yes,
So
I yield.
Give us, tell people where they can find you, where your information is. So anyone that enjoyed your content, they could definitely reach out to you.
Yes, I'm gonna entertain the thought on all streaming platforms. Entertain the thought, Reese Roberts. That's me.
All right. Thank you. I want to thank Robert and Reese for coming on, but I want to let the people, because that's what we did this for. We didn't do this to try to sway Robert. We didn't do this to try to sway Reed. We did this for the people. So I'm giving y'all about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to let Soul go, then Zadok, because he got to start his live soon. And then I'm going to go to the Sister Rain, and then I'm going to let the elder end it because we've been blessed to have an elder come on. And I think that's a good thing to have an elder here to give her experiences and her firsthand knowledge. So let's go to you, Soul. You got about 3 minutes, then we'll go to Zadok. You got to unmute your mic.
All right, thank you. Now, can everybody see these numbers? Yes? Everybody see these numbers?
It. Mm-hmm.
All right. You see 8 billion, you see 30 million, and you see the outcome. When we're conducting business and we're engaging in community building, you only deal with things like architecture, sciences, things you can measure. Okay, most of the stuff that's being said here by Reese and by some of the folks in the comment section are completely subjective, and they have absolutely nothing to do with building a community. The numbers I gave you are thus: approximately 8 billion people in the world, right? Approximately 30 million women that are Black women that live in the United States, and therefore they only comprise 0.00375% of the world's female population. That means I do not have to engage in geographic endogamy. I have a passport and I make good money and I have 4 businesses and I'm still youthful and I eat healthy and I'm intelligent. That means I can travel anywhere that I want to in this galaxy as long as I can get there. And that is historically what Black men have done in Africa, across the Caribbean, across South America, across South Asia, across Southeast Asia. This is no different. And when I hear people saying that we can't because we have to stay here and fight, no, that's because most people were raised by their single Black mothers and they think like they're single Black mothers, and they need to be quiet because you're not interested in building a community. When you're building a community, you trust in patriarchy, because I can take you to every last empire in the world, every last village that was able to fend off people. They were run by men, and those men had to be very objective in what they did. That is a mate selection. That's when you build a house. That's when you build a wall. That's when you build a business. That's when you travel in a boat, in a car, in a plane, in a rocket ship. Everything is objective. That's how you build things. And if you all believe something else that I'm not saying, if you disagree, show me any type of community where you could go in with the women talking all the time about feelings and non-judgmentalism and we don't want to be judged. You show me what inventions they have. You show me what influence they had on the world. You show me when they sent their healthy sons out and that did not engage in criminal activity most of the time. You do realize that in the United States, men across all ethnicities between the ages of 18 and 34, 90% of the violent criminals were raised by who? Single mothers. That stat is the same for Black America. So we don't want to hear it. Black women only make up approximately 8% of the United States population. And guess what? Y'all over here talking. See, I go by numbers. Okay, I'm in cybersecurity. I go by numbers. I don't do all this. Oh well, this is what I think and what Mama said. And I might hurt the black woman's feelings. Nobody cares. I'm out here building things that require structure, and that requires science, and that requires objectivity. So, if anybody wants to know what we're supposed to do and why we travel, is because we are objective. Though the United States only holds 4% of the world's population. Only 4% of the world's population. We have to stay here when there are women overseas. You see how much success we're achieving overseas. I'm about to start 3 businesses with my women overseas. So no black woman here would start a business with me. I've been trying for 20 years. Nobody do it. You're too controlling. Yeah, but I got some money and I got successful businesses. I'm going to control stuff. I'm going to be controlling. So that's the fact. We only have to deal with facts in order to build a community. That's all I wanted to say. I want y'all to screenshot this number. I want y'all to screenshot that 8 billion in the world, approximately 30 million black women, 0.00375% of the world's female population. I want you to do the numbers. And I want you to get a passport, brothers. And I want you to go do what you want to do. Thank you.
Zadok, the floor is yours. You got 3 minutes. I know you got to go live soon. Y'all make sure y'all check out Zadok. He got a whole class he done changed out just for this topic. So y'all definitely got to go to his channel. I hit the link in there. So Zadok, the floor is yours. You got 3 minutes to close it out. I don't know. Is he still there? Zadok, can you hear us? You want to unmute your mic? If not, we're going to go to, all right, let's go to Rainy. I don't know if I'm saying it right. We're going to give you a chance to speak. Are you in there? Can y'all hear me? So then it's just them two. So Rainy, you're not there. Zadok, you're not there? All right. So then we're just going to close it out with the elder then, because I don't see either one of them responding. All right, elder. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I see some beautiful people in front of me in this, and I speak wealth, prosperity, and great health over your lives. You go anywhere you want to in this world. I found a lot of people that stayed like in their community, their thinking is totally ignorant. I'm like, do you go across the state line ever? And they don't. So if that being said, keep looking forward. Don't look back. There always going to be some that like to wander in the wilderness. So let them keep on wandering while you do your thing. You do your thing, Mr. Reed. Christina, you do yours. And Brother Hondo, you do yours. With that being said, you have a great evening.
And make sure you like and subscribe and come back now. Don't make this a one-time trip, okay? Like and subscribe and come back. Thank you again, Robert. I guess Reese closed out, so I didn't get a chance to thank her. But thank you again, Robert, for coming. And Brother Soul, listen, man, I like what you bring it to the table. I want you to email me when you get a chance. And if you're interested, if you got a schedule free and you're thinking about wanting to come on and bring some of your ideas to the table, or you and Reed want to come on one day and just do a show, I would really enjoy that.
We might have a couple of ideas for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I leave information from my book, Christina?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, share with the people.
So my book is called The Polygamist Papers, an introduction to polygamous culture and its principles, pitfalls, and ethics. And you can find it on Amazon. It's got 103 reviews, 4.7 out of 5-star rating. I'm the one who started the entire discussion on the internet on polygamy back in 2010. So you want a source of objective economic information, you come to me. The sequel to the book is called Polygamy as Economic Warfare. That book is going to debut at the end of the year. You can find me at gohondo@icloud.com. You can also find me, I'm no longer on Facebook heavy, but you can find me on TikTok. You can find me also on Instagram. You guys want consultations on building a polygamy family, I do that too. You want me on your show, we can talk about that as well. So
yeah, I'm interested in that. If you want to come on, Brother Hondo, if you want to come on to just talk about your book and some other things you're doing, we're constantly trying to create some type of more content. We're trying to bring more content to the people. So definitely, I'm going to check you out, see what you're working with, and email me. And then definitely, I'm looking forward to that. And Robert, if you're definitely interested in doing a little dialogue with Zadok, let me know. Because I would love to do that. I would love it. I would love it. So thank you guys, everybody, for coming. Again, like, subscribe. We still got 36 people in here right now. Like and subscribe. Again, if you guys enjoyed the content, if you liked what you saw, share the video, subscribe, and make sure to send a donation to Let's Talk Podcast 55 at Cash App. We appreciate any donations. A lot of work, time, and energy that's put into this, and I will appreciate any love that you guys want to send our way. With that being said, thank you guys all for coming. Until next time, let's talk.
Thank you for having me.